sense, but I want them to be worth $250.
Yeah,
It's
they get
like,
mad at
you
me.
can't have both.
I want to go to the gumball machine, put in my quarter, and out comes a diamond ring. But unfortunately, this is cardboard conversation. So what you're getting here instead of that fairy tale is reality. I'm Pat, joined by Bob and Matt, and tonight we've got a special guest. Mark, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a bit?
Hey, I'm Mark from SolarGames, and let's see. So I just run our YouTube channel. We talk a lot about Magic Gathering, more on the collectability and investment side. But nowadays, I've been really diving into Grand Archive. So I hope you guys have a lot of questions for me about Grand Archive because I'll answer them for you.
I've never even heard of Grand Archive.
Oh, it's the best game you've never heard of.
All right. So I'm so professional. I'm going to Google that right now.
Yeah, we're doing that
Grand
right here in the
Archive.
background.
Yeah,
I know some of you guys are Fab players. Just think this is like the next Fab.
I feel like Alpha Clash is the next Fab.
Grand Archive.
I think Fab's the next Fab.
I think actually Fab is very, very different. Yeah, from a lot of TCGs. Grand Archive honestly is more. It's much closer to Magic than Fab is.
Yeah, I've been delving into Alpha Clash. I like it.
Okay, I gotta look that up. There's so many TCGs now. It's like every
Alpha
minute.
Clash is like a superhero version of every game you have ever played.
Okay.
They really did take like a lot of different things from different games and just kind of smashed it all into one. But I think it works really well. The mana system is pretty much similar to if you've ever played Ashes Reborn or Phoenix Reborn, where like you can take any card. Well, no, actually, no. It would be more like, I guess, more like Fab, where any card could be a resource, but instead of it being only a resource for that turn, you just flip it over and it's a land for your turn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any card could be a land.
Yep. That's how Grand Archive works too. I think most new games mana systems basically like Mana Screwed doesn't exist anymore. So.
Oh yeah, I think MTG is grandfathered into being fucked with Mana Screwed. I don't think they can ever change it.
Yeah, and at this point, they can't take it back. They can't really change the system in any dramatic mechanical way. It's definitely set in stone. It is what it is. I mean, you look at the back of any Magic card, and it's got your 5 different types of mana right there. I mean, land is so natural in Magic the Gathering that you can't really separate them, and it's definitely doing a disservice at this point. I feel
disagree.
Oh, well, tell me why, Bob.
Hot take.
All right,
I like it.
Well, you'll get that a lot from me, Mark. So, yes, lands are integral to Magic the Gathering, and as part of that, entire mechanics in the game are based around searching, digging, playing extra, right? Whereas in the other games that make sure you have this smooth play experience, you miss out on ramping. Like that's an entire strategy. That's an entire series of cards that don't even exist in other games. So you miss that additional part of the mechanic. You can focus on that, but if all you do is get lands, well, you're generally not doing much. Plus, you have the landfall mechanic, the trigger, the basis off of your basic mana, which you just don't really have in the other games, right? It ensures that you have a smoother play to play the cards that you have, but it also cuts off that entire avenue of play, right, to manipulate your resource management, right? And you do that in other games. Like, let's think about it. Think about games like Civilization or Age of Empires, where they're all about resource management, right? That's the major part of it. Getting more resources than the barbarian tribes around you. Their entire games are built on that. And so I wouldn't say it does a good service.
If you're playing like Age of Empires and you get spawned with no wood next to you.
Right. That's exactly it, right?
That's mana screwed. See, the thing is, like, we're not saying we shouldn't have resources. We're just saying I want to always have water for fish, some wood, some gold, so I can go high tier later, right? And that's the problem. Like with Magic, you might be the best player, you might have the best deck, but man, you just drew the worst hand.
But
sometimes you just can't dig out of that.
But that's a great equalizer for everybody. Right? It's
not
specific to you. It is everybody
for you because I'm getting menaced.
But see, that's just it. When you watch a lot of the content creators playing Arena, see, that always happens to me. But guess what? It's also happening to the person that's sitting across from you as well. So it's an equalizer, meaning it's not specific to you.
How do you think that's good? It feels horrible.
Well, I think it is good. And why I'm saying that is because it's a known going into it, so you have to pay attention to it with deck building, where in other games, you don't even have to pay attention to it. And I'll point out,
definitely,
Matt, like Destiny, right? Or like the Lord of the Rings LCG that we play, where your resources are managed not by anything that you're putting in your deck at all, really. It's all based on you get X amount of resources every turn, manage that wisely, save it up if you need to. I've seen another couple of games do that as well, where you're just getting, you get 2 tokens every turn or 3 or whatever that represent mana. So I think that it's an avenue of play, and I think that saying, well, the mana screw is just purely bad. I think that it's also a way to gain advantage. It's a way to play your decks and be that kind of player. I think it adds a little depth, actually. Additionally, it's so integral for a collector, Mark. When you talk about Magic and you're talking about valuable cards by type, what is the most valuable type of card that exists in Magic? Lands.
Spells. Enchantments.
I'm going to say lands are typically the
Yes,
most
I knew you got the right guy.
Guys,
always a great
so, yeah.
investment. So
Can you imagine
anyways,
how cool your
that's it.
commander deck would be without lands? That's what I'm saying.
I don't think
I just
it would
feel
be
like
cool
they're a
at
big
all.
waste of space.
Do you guys remember that one? I feel like it was a special arena thing where you just cast spells. You get like 1 spell turn.
Yeah. And nobody plays it, by the way. So they remove mana screw. And
I really liked it. I was like, oh,
you,
this is cool.
you might like it, but it's
I'm
not
in,
played
dude.
often. People
Well, it's a
generally
different
don't
way to
play.
play, and I'll definitely give you a lot of credit on that, Bob. I definitely agree that having land changes the mechanics of the
Yes.
game on a very base level. How you're interacting with it, the different options you have. Landfall, absolutely. You can't do that same type of thing without lands. Yeah, it totally makes sense. But on the flip side of that,
Certainly can.
the evenness of Flesh and Blood, when you have the mild variation of your pitch costs, which is similar to your land, but way less variation in that. You're still getting something off of it.
All
What I
I'm
was
saying is
thinking-
I think it adds a dimension to the game. I don't think it's purely bad, is what I'm saying. It may
I
not be
think
for
that
you, but engage with
you
lands
could
the way you
exile
want
a
to.
card from your hand, get a land, boom, landfall still exists.
Well,
And there
of
are
course, only
some
once per turn.
there's some fab decks where your pitch color matters. So if you're playing red pitch cards, you get like +2 attack for that turn. So there are definitely some synergy that's taken from that in other TCGs. I think that there's just an evolution, and it's a different style as well. It slims down the deck so much. Like you're seeing with Alpha Clash, their constructed decks are 50 cards. Flesh and Blood is, I think, 80. So even their Blitz decks are only 40. So having no land in it slims your deck down a whole lot. So on the collector side, that does make things a lot easier. Cheapens up the product line.
Okay,
players.
but then for those that are there for
Collectors don't want it to be
investment,
cheap.
Yeah.
people always want cards to be cheap when they're buying them, but then they want them to be worth something when they go to sell them.
Can I tell you how Grand Archive
Nope.
solves this
You-
problem?
you-
about
no, we
collecting?
didn't bring you on the show to talk to us.
All right, look,
No,
let me
go
tell you, guys. Okay, so as Bob, as you're saying, lands are the most expensive, coveted thing in Magic, right? And recently, I've had an epiphany. So Grand Archive has a bunch of these kind of like basic things. Imagine them as lands. Everyone's going to run them. Your base element, your heroes that you evolve into, these are all commons. Everybody has access to all of them. Effectively, there's no like super rare version of it. But Grand Archive makes like the most pimped out version of these cards. I think like texturized, flashy. Like basically at this point, if there's a hologram that pops out of the card, I'm not surprised, right? That level of flashiness, also on the most basic things. So you could have a deck where you could see these cards that you can drop down every single game, right? And it's like, look, okay, so for example, look up Lorraine. Look up Lorraine level 3, for example. Just Lorraine as a champion. You're going to pop these cards every single time. And then it's just going to be an insanely cool thing. Or it could be a 20-cent thing that nobody cares. So that's the base version. But look on the bottom here. Go scroll down a little bit. A little bit more. You see all there? You have all this.
Oh,
like,
yeah. All these different versions.
Correct. And if you look at, there should be one where it's like, I don't know why I don't see it. Yeah, there you go. Check that out. So this is their like collector super rare. So these are serialized, gold signature, and the whole frame is like different. And there's different versions of this stuff. So like the basic version, super easily expired. Every player can have it. So all the players are happy. They are literally 0. But this version, for example, I think it's like 2,000. 3,000, something like that. Maybe 2,000 is pretty low. I feel like every Grand Archive player right now who's watching this and like, Mark, stop like ripping people off. Yes, agreed. But yeah, Like this one, because serialized is going to cost a lot more. And that's how they solve this problem. In fact, the tournament that's coming up in end of September this year, there's going to be 4 or 16, I think, total fire elements that will ever be given out. And it'll have like Ascension, the tournament name, top 8 on it. And it's like a fire element is like the most basic like card you can have. It's basically like a swamp, right? Or a mountain. Except this version is different. It's special. It's got like stamps on it, whatever. And it's probably going to be one of the most expensive cards in the game at that point. So I think it actually balances out pretty well. Yeah, the Spirit of Fire, basically. There's going to be a special version come that's tournament only. And this is not something you could just buy from a pack. You literally have to top 8 in a tournament, which I'm going to. And then
That's like
if you
draw
top 8, you're
7
going to
cards?
win the card. That's it.
Yeah, all of these.
Draw 7 cards. That seems powerful.
It's so the way that this works is that in Grand Archive, this card opens your game. So it's the same as just like the first turn of Magic. You play this card, which the card tells you what's going to happen. And this gives you extra design space in the future. For example, I can give you a slightly more powerful element and say something like, hey, draw 6. Right? So you take a little bit of a draw hand hit, but you might have a better powerful element. I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but it opens up a lot of that kind of space for you. Instead of saying, by the rule, everybody draws 7.
I'll say this about any trading card game, and I'm looking at you in the chat. Don't think I'm missing you there, Dual Brain. About Cryptic and Sorcery did the same thing with much love to Dual Brain and his new baby. But to say that they'll never print things again, any company will reprint anything before their company goes bankrupt. Let's just be clear about that and be real. I think that the mismanagement at WotC is running into that. And to be fair, it's hard to compare a 30-year-old game to a 1-year-old game and to say what they'll do and say, oh, you can only get them in tournaments. Well, maybe they make an even more baller card that you don't get in tournaments that you get from some sort of direct purchase like Secret Lairs. I think this evolution is sort of a blueprint for anybody to follow. And are they bad for the collectible side? Absolutely. So I think Flesh and Blood, in all honesty, is doing a fantastic job so far at managing both the collectability aspect balanced with the player aspect at the same time. And I do like James White. I'm not a huge fan about the gameplay style, but I do like what he's doing with the product, right? I think WotC's terrible. Like, I'm just going to say it. We're never getting WotC sponsorship, so F them. They're doing a very bad job at just reprinting the shit out of everything and draining the value out of people's binders that have been there for 25 years and go, oh, well, we're just going to reprint Goblin Lackey and Secret Lair. Look at you, Summer Drop. It's ridiculous what they're doing, and they
Orcish
don't have
Bowmaster
a
in 12
clue.
months. I'm calling it right now.
What's that?
Orcish Bowmaster in a Secret Lair within 12 months. I'm calling it right now.
Shit, I think it's going to be reprinted.
That's a solid call.
Of course.
Yeah.
First off, it's going to be reprinted in December. We already know this. Hey, we're printing it in July, and we're going to print it again, or June. We're printing it in June, and we're printing it in December. Cool. At any rate, all bets are off. Like, for any card, and I don't care if it's reserve list. I don't care if it's a Secret Lair. I don't care if it's a super duper pooper oil raised slick whatever with serialized, signed, and wipe their sweat off on it. They're going to reprint it if it'll make them more money. That's just what WotC's doing. That's not bashing them. You could see it. It's evident what they're doing. And
agreed.
Did you take that survey? Did you get one of those surveys this week from WotC about how are we doing kind of thing? What would you like to see? I bash the shit out of them. I'm like, you're killing the game by
my
reprinting.
junk mail. I don't read them.
So I try to respond. I am a steward of the game, Coach, and that's why you don't pry any cards out of my hands. But at any rate, I think that they could learn, and I think that new games, like you're pointing out, Mark, that there are better ways to manage it just rather than reprinting valuable cards.
How are the foils in Grand Archive?
I wish I have something. You know what? Let me bring. They don't bend.
I was gonna say, are they
literally,
straight?
they don't bend.
I gotta tell you,
why?
Alpha Clash, I got a bunch of foils. They're pretty straight.
You know why
You know
they
what
don't
else
bend?
is pretty
Well,
cool?
actually,
You know
I'm
what
curious.
is pretty
How does Alpha Clash make sure they don't bend? Have you heard the story or understand how the paper works?
I understand why Magic bends, but I don't understand why other cards don't.
Don't, right? So the way that I actually had the chance to interview one of the developers. So the team of Grand Archive is 6 people. So I had to actually interview with him,
Yeah, Alpha
one of
Clash is
the
about the
developers
same.
last weekend. not published yet, but we're editing the video right now.
Cool.
The reason why those cards don't bend is they're using what they call 350 GSM paper that's custom made in Italy. It's a mix of cardboard and plastic. Now it's a little bit like I'm a bleeding heart, like I don't know, like Berkeley or whatever, California liberal type of person, right? Like, oh, plastic, right? But I would say, like, man, the fact that thing just sits flat on my desk, I can sit in the sun, it doesn't really bend. It's amazing. It's really good, and the finish is really nice because it's a little bit thicker. And their print, they're not using like rosette printing anymore. They're using high DPI print, so the image is very clear too. So yeah, if you have a chance to ever look at a Grand Archive card, just check it out. You'll see. Like it's a drastic difference between that and what you probably see in Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, your standard like top 3 playing.
Yeah, I never even heard of this game. I
How's
just
the
heard
card
of
feel?
it earlier.
How is the card feel in your hand?
Oh, it's the best. I've never had a card that feels better. I mean, one of the store owners told me that Final Fantasy feels better, and he gave me a couple of those promo cards from Final Fantasy. I'm gonna be honest. I think Grand Archive's better. The back is texturized through a UV finish, so they like engrave the thing on there. So on the back is already textured. I'm like, why are you texturing the back? People are gonna put this in a sleeve, never feel it, but they do it because they can. It's like they care about quality.
I was gonna say the texture of a card and the feel of a card in the hand doesn't really matter to me because it's going to be in a sleeve.
Pack opening. So the reason why they did it is when they open the pack, they want that premium feel before you put it in the sleeve. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, I've opened up a decent amount of Time Spiral Remastered, and those cards were so scratchy.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, it's that US printer. So the Japan printer is better. If you ever want good,
the
pro tip,
Japan
guys,
printer is definitely better.
You want a better Magic card? Only buy the first wave. Make sure it's made in Japan. That's what you want with a pull tab. So it looks like a little bit loose. People are like, "Oh, these are fake." They're not fake. Okay, it's a little loose. That's Japan print. Open that shit up. Never trade it away. Trade people with the English prints.
So, a couple of things. I think the card feel does matter. It just doesn't matter to players that are putting in the sleeves. It does matter to a collector.
I think so.
Secondly, surprisingly, what I've been trying to say is that scene in the bundle, I opened it and I've intentionally been leaving it on my morning room table for about the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They are flat. All 4 of them are flat. I'm like, wow, that's really surprising. They're not bending, and it's been raining a lot up here, as you know, Matt. So
the One Ring's bent, so
okay. So on that note,
oh wow, we had to go there. So we're gonna
I mean, I'm just saying the literally the most important card in Magic's history, they still couldn't get that straight.
Yeah, it's only a 9. I think that's a fun little fact. And again, somebody had made the point, and some show I was watching, there's no other cards really to compare it to. Yeah. There's no other One Ring to, hold them up and say,
so what
this
does the
one's
grade
more
matter?
Expensive. Yeah, it's still going to be worth over $1 million.
The grade does matter. It matters because it's a way to authenticate the card, sort of.
Mm-mm.
What I'm saying is the grade itself.
Yeah. The number doesn't matter,
but the grade has no meaning.
Right. It could have been a 4, and it's still going to go for over $1 million
until there's many serialized one of ones.
That's exactly it.
See,
and
I think it does matter long term because
I don't
there's
think
going to be so of course if you want the ring, there's only one of them, and yes, it's the 9 whatever. But there's going to be a point, right, where like we have so many one of ones, and there's going to be like, well, you know what? Okay, for example, let's say I have a Long Claw one of one. I'm not, and it's 10. I'm not trading that for your like fucking One Ring one of one. I love both Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, but Song of Ice and Fire, sorry. But yeah, I'm not trading it because mine is a 10. Quad 10? Fuck no, I'm trading that card away. Think about it.
A Game of Thrones crossover, Universes Beyond would be pretty cool.
Somebody was like, oh, there's the Lord of the Rings, the nth, there's no more. I'm like, are you kidding me? The easiest one is A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, it's basically the same story.
It's not going to be bigger. I'm going to have to argue with you that it's not going to be bigger.
Okay.
I think it might be
Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire is not a bigger IP than Lord of the Rings. Sorry, it's just not.
Lord of the Rings has not been making shows. Game of Thrones is still making more shows that are so popular.
Yes, they do. They actually have a
There's one on, I think,
contract
Amazon
with
Prime
Amazon.
or HBO or
something. You mean the one that J.R.R. Tolkien Estate's about to drop because Amazon's fucking it up? Dude, I'm telling you, they're not making any good shows right now. And all they have is the Jackson movies, and Tolkien Estates hates that. And I don't even know why. That was a pretty good, well done like rendition. I mean, it's the book. You can't like you can't make a 20-hour movie or like 50-hour movie, whatever. Like, I don't know what they're asking for. I think Peter Jackson did a pretty good job. Yeah. And look, Game of Thrones has had some bumps, and I think part of that is to blame is George R. R. Martin can't finish a book, right? Sorry.
Yeah, fucking A.
Right, but
I'm surprised
like
Elden
you
Ring
see, they
came
start
out.
tackling like older stories with source material. It's good again. Like House of Dragon's not bad. I think it's a pretty decent show. It's not
Well, I
like as
mean,
good as season 1, but it's decent.
you also have some options like Diablo.
Yep.
You know, big like IPs in that, like a Mortal
That'd be
Kombat crossover for like the reboot of Mortal Kombat that they're doing with MK1. Like, there's huge IPs that are
I mean,
still
even
putting out, and they can tie in the releases, and that's huge. You know, not just branding, but the combined market push is really big.
even World of Warcraft would be a pretty good crossover as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
just so you're aware, Lord of the Rings is the third top-selling book of all time, behind Don Quixote and A Tale of Two Cities. So it's not just the movies and the shows.
Oh, that's
okay?
what they should do.
some
They should
part
do
of
a Bible crossover.
That's right.
Yeah, but what's weird is they don't have the
Which one
Bible
is
in
the
there, which I know
best-selling
is the
book?
number
One
one
Jesus.
selling book.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
weird.
exactly.
God, I've pulled God.
Biblical. Oh, Jesus! No, it is Jesus.
And then
Yeah.
I want the showcase Buddy Jesus version, like this one. You know.
I mean,
he has to
Damnation
have
fits perfectly in
undying.
there. Yeah.
Oh wow, we're so gonna get. We're not just gonna get demonetized. We're gonna get canceled. Thanks for talking.
Yeah.
Why are
well.
what is Dawn of Ashes the most recent set for Grand Archive?
It's the only set. Yeah, they're about to
Why
release
are
a
the
set
boxes so expensive?
called.
I agree
Because-
with you, Lance.
Because the hype is too high. Like, so
I'll
basically,
say it's
these are it's-
$400 for one box.
Oh
I'm
no,
out.
that's the Kickstarter first edition. So this is the
Yeah.
like, look, I just ignore that because that's like Fab first edition, right? Fab 1E, you know what
Okay.
happened, $9,000. Like, yeah, it's just kind of like, I think it's fine.
So I
Part of
need
it
to
is
go
because
to
the
alt-
first edition
it's
does
called the
have
alt-
like
okay, so
materially
the
different
Ultra
cards.
edition is what I need to look at.
Right, the Ultra edition is what you're gonna look at. It's like about $100, but even that's high.
Oh,
There's a reprint
$96.
that's coming in later this month, so just wait until that. You're gonna get it for like $80 a box. It's pretty reasonable.
But I could pull Merlin Memory Thief the Altar and get $1,000.
Yeah, no. See, this is the problem. Like, no gambler chase. Don't chase.
What
the
are
dragon.
the
You're
what are
gonna
the
fail.
do they have the rarities like the odds of pulling these cards?
Yeah. Actually, GA does a very consistent pull rate. I don't, and the reason they do this is just because they don't want any like feel bads for people. It's 6 super rares, 1 ultra rare, and then 3 foils of any rarity, and that's it. So that's basically guaranteed every box. I've opened 8 or 9 boxes now, altars. They've all been that consistent. Always 6, 1, 3.
Okay, so they
Are
have
you,
a very strict print policy.
Are you doing any gameplay?
Dude, I've been playing so much. I don't stream like gameplay type of things, but I've been playing this game so much. Like I'm about to go to like SoCal for regionals, I think, come later August. I'm basically driving around the Bay Area, playing at every single game store that will host like weeklies, and try to like win. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never gotten this sweaty over like a card game before. I just collect.
It's on
for best
TCG, which
before.
is nice. I like that.
yeah.
So far, Alpha
One of
Class
the
is
guys
not
I work with sometimes, Red Zone Rogue, pushes a lot for Fate Grand Archive and a couple of other TCGs and stuff. So I've seen some information about the game, but yeah, it's good to know that there's actually a competitive scene. That's a really important thing with TCGs is to get people invested into it in the way that you are, you know, to hop in a van, go around and, you know, play in tournaments. That's why I think, you know, Flesh and Blood is doing so well.
Yes,
is because,
agreed.
you know, there is that scene of, I want to go to the armories. I want to get battle hardened. I want to go and, you know, see if I can get to nationals. And like you said, some of the promos and giveaway cards are, you know, really sought after. And that's something I think now that Magic has got less of that scene is like the judge promos and stuff. How are we getting cool things like that anymore? We're not.
What
I
do
thought they were
judges
bringing
get now?
kids
They
from
get
on
like
back.
a box or something? A booster
Yeah,
box
they
or
get
two?
product.
Ugh, that sucks.
But I thought they were bringing. I thought they said something about judge promos were coming back.
Well, not if they reprint it like a year later. That's
Right.
That's the slap.
Well,
Like,
again-
that's the worst, man. Like, here's the Ella Schnorr. It's hella cool. Everyone else can go buy it for $30.
Well, if it has a special like gold stamp that's judge promo, then it's fine. 'Cause that version's still unique to it.
Yeah.
I think there are still some judge promos that have been
Yeah,
reprinted, but the judge promo itself still holds value.
Yeah, the Storm Markov, right? That one's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
a very different.
I would
yeah.
I would definitely recommend to WotC taking a better approach and coming up with a better version of the reserve list. I think that making a reserve list is inherently just bad for the game. Cutting off the access to cards that people need to play, like dual lands to the average person, is bad for gameplay. Yeah. Now, cutting off specific hyper rare versions of them, like you showed with that gold signed super rare card that also is super common, I do think that that's a healthier approach. And they need to come up with a public policy that we can trust. I think that's the only way to save Magic at this point, because they're just reprinting wantonly.
All Magic needs to do, it's very simple: serialize and print the fucking best looking basic lands you've ever seen in your life. Can you imagine like some dude pulls up an LGS, throws out like he plays the first swamp and it says 7 out of 10. You're like, fuck this guy, dude. He has his 10 swamps all serialized. That's all they got to do. If they do that, bro, Magic's back again, because no player's gonna complain about that, right?
Was that Alpha Clash?
That's Alpha Clash probably.
All right, hold on. Now
two cards. Put 2 cards together. That's how you do it. So 2 cards and show me the curve.
I'll show you 2.
I'll show you the curve.
Two of these are the iconic rares. These are like the gold stamp crazy wacko foils.
Yeah.
I don't know, like.
Yeah, that's pretty. See that? That's nothing. Well, put them back to back, so like they're not facing the same direction. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's basically no bad.
There's a little bit of a curl, but I mean, I don't think they do anything special with like the card just looks like normal cardboard. There's nothing like special. It feels like a normal Magic card, minus the front has like a glossy. Well, actually, I didn't realize it's somewhat of a raised texture feel.
Yeah. Because dude,
it has like it's like the image. So there's like the foil part of the card. I probably can't get it. Stop looking at my face. There we go. It has like where the head is. It has like a texture. It's raised a little bit.
I get you.
But yeah, I'll definitely check into Grand Archive. So, Alpha Clash is newer than Grand Archive. I don't know how long Grand Archive's been out, but Alpha Clash, it literally hasn't printed yet. Like they have they have Kickstarter boxes, but they don't have any.
The
printing, the actual real printing is the 21st this month.
Yeah.
All right. So I was saying these scenes that come in the bundles have been sitting out in the open, outside of sleeves.
Mm-hmm. So take another one. Take like
weeks.
Frodo. Put Frodo.
Oh no!
Have Frodo kiss
turn
the
them
ring.
back to back.
Yeah,
there is a very slight bend. Like,
is he like check his fingers, make sure he's not pushing it down.
No, I'm trying to get it to where I can hold it, but now my finger's in front of it.
Yeah. I think maybe they're working on it. You know, they're really trying to like.
So I'm and believe me, I'll bash WotC. I'm no shill, but I was surprised, is what I'm saying, because I went by and like when I walked by about a week later and I looked and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have tacos sitting on my table. What the hell?
The foils from TSR, the retro foils, those are pretty good too. It's like WotC knows how to make them, because like if you look at Master Sets,
they just don't.
Like
the foilish foils are great. Those things are straight as an arrow.
I'm just saying, if they printed them this flat, it wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Whatever they did for these, do it again.
Technically, they're printed flat.
Okay, if they maintained their flatness, if that's even a proper phrase,
once they hit air.
Nobody would be bitching about, and there's so many things that they suck at quality, right? You know, like the 30th countdown thing. If you opened one of those, the M30 celebration countdown countdown one, they individually wrapped each card, right? So did you open any?
I opened one. Yes, I have another one sealed right there.
So I don't know if you had the same issue. Like the packs were not the same width because they were wrapping single cards, and some of them they were so tight it curled the card inside the pack.
Yes,
like damaged it. It was so bad.
Yep.
And I'm like, who the hell went through the process of, hey, this is the first time we're putting wrappers on single cards. Let's make sure we don't F this up for a premium product. And then you have like I just looked at it and I like when I started stacking them when I was doing my opening, and I turned off my damn audio, of course, when I was doing my opening, so wasted video. But I was like, holy shit, look at this! Like the packs are not the same width. Some of them are squeezed in so tight they like non-foil cards were curled. I'm like, what the hell?
I think I creased one of my cards opening the packs because they were so, stupidly. Like I didn't think I did, but I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to look at the footage again, but. one of the cards like has a crease in it, and I'm like, I don't think I would have like in order to crease a card, you have to like really fucking rank on it, rip on it. But I don't know, it's creased. That's all I know. Luckily, it's a card that wasn't worth much. But
I'm just saying, WotC does not have great quality at all. With all the misprints, and it used to be a thing that they had good quality, so misprints were highly valuable.
You're
now,
right.
Misprints are so common that the misprint community is not even a thing anymore because that's commonplace. And it's like, well, they're just so bad right now. Like I said, bad stewards, just in every possible way I can think of. God. So
how are
bad.
the starter decks for Grand Archive? Are they worth buying?
I think
like
they're
learn the
good
game?
if you just want to start. Oh, here's the fun thing about starter decks. They do have one. I think it's like one in every. God, 97. Some chance of pulling a collector's ultra rare from there with the
Yeah, I
signature
see that
gold
there's
and
like
stuff.
2 cards that are worth like $500-$600.
Yes. So basically, look, if you're gonna buy a starter deck, I wouldn't chase for this thing. I know a lot of people who did open them.
Buy 600. Got it.
But basically, if you buy a mega case, so each case has like 4 of those boxes of 9 decks each, right? Or I think it's 2 mega, so 72 decks. One in every 72 decks, you're guaranteed. It's not really guaranteed, but the chances you're going to hit one collector's ultra rare, collector's super rare, CSR. I wouldn't chase for it. It's not my kind of game. But I did open a bunch of them to show people how to play, and I just give them the deck afterwards. It's like it's like $10 or whatever. So it's not.
How much is that Masters case? So if the $500 card and you said 4 times 9,
Looks
that's
like
what?
140.
Yeah, so if you buy two master, I think you have to buy 2 master cases, by the way. So it's about like one. If you shop
Even
around,
still.
you might be able to get something for like basically like around the 110, 120ish era. Let's say you get that and you multiply that by well, the price has gone up because demand's so high for this game. The game is really good, right? It's really playable, so people want it. But yeah, you buy like I think you're gonna have to get 8 of these to get 1 CSR. So it's not really worth it. I just if you like CSRs, just go buy them. I think I bought one a couple weeks ago. The way I do it.
I was looking. So this is.
So you're saying buy singles, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I bought that card right there, the first one, the Lorraine Crux Knight CSR. Yeah, it's really good looking in person, actually. Let me go find it. You guys chat. I'll go find it.
I mean, I like anime, so I'm a fan.
Yeah, it seems interesting. I like the
Definitely check
artwork
out
on
the
it,
game.
but I'm definitely a big fan of the like visceral nature of Flesh and Blood, how gory it is. So this is.
I did get to finally play some games of
Archer.
Alpha Clash.
Oh no shit, huh?
Yeah. My buddy came over, and then the other buddy canceled, so it was just the 2 of us. And I was just like, "Hey, you want to play a new game?" And he's like, "Sure."
Sure.
So we played some Alpha Clash, and it's interesting. It's very. I mean, obviously there's starter decks, so like I was gonna say, it's very, very close. I think they did a good job at matching the. Here, let me stop my camera. There we go. Oh, it's so shiny.
Oh,
It's all texturized too. So like her sword, her like hair, it's all texturized. So you can just it's different. The signature obviously texturized. Yeah, it's cool. Like there's a lot of design element even put into these as well because they're not like the normal.
Now, are these like your commander?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, so you're pretty much going to use this every game. That's why it's like kind of nice to have this
worth
as your
tricking
super
out,
rare, 'cause,
yeah.
like you could just
So that's
kinda
kinda
show
like
it off
Flesh
every
and Blood
game.
then.
It's a basic land that you're guaranteed to play. Yeah.
So it's kind of like Flesh and Blood with your hero.
Yeah, actually, yes, very similar.
Yeah, they have the same thing with.
oh yeah, I feel that, Coach.
Yeah, they have the same thing with whatchamacallit. Here, let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, that works too.
Alpha Clash.
So this is Alpha Clash. This is your contender.
backward.
So at the top, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is your contender. 30 HP, top right. Oh, yeah, here. And then it has the abilities down here. And the abilities, you get the first one at 30 HP, and then if your HP falls below 10, you get an additional
It's like
thing.
an ultimate. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So like as you get weaker, you get like a pretty strong ability. Like this just like lets you like tell they target opponent discards a card once per turn.
It's
pretty good.
Seems good. I don't know how good it is in that game, but yeah, it seems pretty good.
It's pretty good. I mean, obviously discard is pretty good. Then you've got, these all have like special crazy, like these like galaxy foil, whatever. Yeah, this one is just once per turn you can move one of your weapons from one character to another, which is pretty strong. But yeah, there's all kinds of different It seems like they all have 30 so far contenders.
Mhm.
I think there's like 7 or 8 different contenders. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 of them so far. I opened 3 packs and I got 2 of the iconic rares, which is pretty. I think it's pretty damn rare.
Mm,
Yeah, here's Mean Streak. Mean
fancy.
Streak is he's like a. I actually think Mean Streak deck would be sick. He's like does these things we call streak counters, and I obviously would play a bunch of things that have streak counters. And he allows you to move streak counters from one person to another, and depending on how many streak counters you have, it like enables different abilities on different cards.
So
Like
is Alpha
this guy-
Clash like a superhero card game?
Yeah. So
But no
it's
like
basically
branding or IP, right? So this is not like Marvel
Yeah.
or DC. Okay.
No, they're just like made up knockoffs.
Cool.
It seems like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like if I think they reference Earth a lot because I mean even some of the cards they were like it's like New York City or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like San
Yeah.
Francisco.
Nice.
There's like things called clash grounds where you like you like fight in that city, and it has like a global buff. But basically, Earth had this thing called the Awakening happen, and people just woke up with like superpowers. But they're not just like they can choose to be good or bad. There's something called the Rage. When you get the Awakening, you get angry, I guess, and you just want to destroy everything. You just like have this urge to destroy. So like there's the Alpha Hunters, which is what these are. These guys are
Benson, what?
because the Alpha Hunters, and they their
Sorry.
job is to take out the people that are raging.
Right,
I don't know.
Benson? I'm always shocked that we get such high quality guests to come on our show. You know, we've had Nikachu, we've had Lance from Cothern Cards. You know, we get some top shelf.
Oh,
Yeah,
let me-
one of the guys that created Commander.
Pat gets
Yeah.
top shelf. folks.
Yeah.
I just insult them.
What's the support like from a competitive play or not competitive, just like LGS picking up this game yet? Alpha
I
Clash?
don't. There hasn't even been a first printing yet. So
But the
don't
Kickstarter
know.
was there a LGS Kickstarter type of thing? Does that make sense?
I wasn't part of the Kickstarter. I heard about it late. I heard about it just about 2 weeks ago, or about
I'm
a
kind
week
of
and a
curious
half
about that
ago.
because like I think a lot of
I know that the Team Covenant, if you're familiar with the Covenant YouTube channel, they're supporting it as far as like the subscription models that they have.
okay.
They typically do a lot of support for games. I'm surprised they haven't done Grand Archive yet.
It's
So-
it's niche.
I'm with you, Coach. Like I bought Cryptic to support Dual Brain, his thing for his channel, but my money this year is going towards Lorcana. Like I don't care about the lawsuit. It just
Yeah.
it seems like a safer place for an investor collector. Like I'm a player too, but to be quite frank, I don't know if you've seen, Mark, that we created a format called Commander Raids, and that's really the only way I want to play TCGs or CCGs at the moment. But for investment purposes, Lorcana definitely is the most intriguing to me because I think it has the widest avenue of potential amongst any possible TCG. Because name a bigger IP than Disney, because they have them all.
Mhm.
Right, so
can't-
they can
I
do
can't-
things
you-
if they
you win.
really want to push it. Nobody else can.
Yeah. I think this is probably the problem a lot of people have with Grand Archive. I actually had this problem too, but I have the same problem with Disney. Its visuals do not appeal to me. It may appeal to my kid,
at all.
but I just don't want to have Mickey Mouse. I don't care how cool
Yep.
Mickey Mouse could be. It's not a card I want to collect, right? And I have the
100%.
same problem with Grand Archive. I'm not into this anime like waifu bullshit. Like I'm about to piss off everyone else now.
I was actually,
Like,
I like the art style of it.
so I don't like it, right? I don't like the anime stuff because the other problem with the anime stuff is it reminds me of all the Japanese card games I don't like, with like
Like
ridiculous
Weiss and
numbers and like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
Weiss.
what's going on. Yeah, exactly, right. And half of it is just you're collecting for tits and ass, right? You don't really care about.
Yeah, that's. I'll be honest. As we're going through some of those cards, I had to make
Right.
sure like I didn't stay on some of them too long because. As much as I enjoy anime, I want to see people's heads popping off and like limbs flying through the air. That's the type of anime I'm looking for,
Yeah.
you know. But there's definitely a market for these waifu kind of things.
But then I tried the game. So this is the key, right? At MXP
Mhm.
Oakland, my buddy showed me this card game. At first, I was like, "Oh man, anime. I'll give it a shot because this is my friend. He's a good friend of mine." And dude, the game is super solid. It's like really fun. I remember like I went home. It was like midnight because we're closing out shop at MXP. This is Saturday after the Pioneer tournament was done. Modern Day 1 was done. And then we're playing this thing, and they're like, all the vendors are cleaning it up, so you got to go because you can't be in here with all the expensive cards, right? And then the whole drive home, I was like, okay, but if I add this one ally, if I brew this way, I'm already brewing in my head without understanding anything about the game. That's the amount of pull I had with Grand Archive. I did not have that with Flesh and Blood my first time playing the game. I did not feel that way with like pretty much any other card game I've played. What was it, like Digimon? It didn't, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! None of this stuff really made me want to brew in that way. There's something weird about Grand Archive. It's like it's very uniquely like special. I think it also helped that I lost. So I didn't win my first game, and I was like, okay, like what can I have done better? Is the deck the problem? How could I change the deck? It was just really interesting. That's the part I was like, wow, like so much possibility already opened up in my head that first day.
After playing 3 games of Alpha Clash, I ordered 3 boxes.
There you go. Yeah. So any good card game. Like I think Lorcana, by the way, back to your point, Bob, will have that pull because I think the game is well designed just from the people who are behind it. My problem with sorcery, so I'm about to, like I'm here to anger all your audience, right?
I don't like
Go
sorcery.
for it. Join my club, Mark.
There's
I don't know if Ed's still here, but
somebody like messaged me, said, "Hey, Mark, you have to check out sorcery. Chris Rush's daughter is drawing for it, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Chris Rush is pretty cool. We all love him, right? Let me go see what kind of artwork Chris Rush's daughter is drawing." I go to her Twitter. Guess what? It's all she's selling her father's artwork. And to me, it's like, look, she's not an artist. If she's selling her father's artwork, her art's probably not good enough, right? So
by artist,
why do I care that she's drawing for sorcery? That, like, if you told me Mark Rosewater's daughter is designing Magic 2, I'm not gonna buy the game. You know what I mean? Like, unless I know that she's a good designer.
I'll say they check it out, but
yeah, but I'm not gonna do it just because she's the daughter of somebody, right? That's stupid. And then the second part that happened was, so you're telling me sorcery is just Metazoo 2 because it's about collecting artwork. Is the gameplay good? Tell me, show me. Because if there's no players, I'm not collecting it.
how do I know if the Kickstarter for Alpha Clash is a TCG Kickstarter?
Usually for the backer side, on the bottom section for the 10,000, 20,000 backing, they'll say something like LGS only or something like that.
It raised like 450K.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's a lot for a card game.
It's pretty high. It's pretty high. But yeah, Grand Archive I think raised 950K, almost $1 million. So and it was like not known. Like had I known this game and had I like tried it with a print and play early on, I probably would have backed like 10 grand for this game for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, easy.
All right, so we know who has money. I'm not throwing 10 grand even.
If you sell your duels, you'll have money too. Get out of Magic. It sucks.
No, first of all, I have the cash to buy it, but I don't want to. I'm not, it's going in a Roth before it goes, at anything like that. Secondly, to address what you were saying, and I agree with you. I would not get most TCGs as a collectible simply because of the art. And I know you don't like Mickey Mouse, but in case you're unaware, there is a whole sub culture out there that just collects Disney and Mickey stuff, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a pin, it could be a bottle cap, it could be the sticker. So Lorcana is going to have that going for it, period. It's going to have the draw just from people who like Disney products, and they will collect it purely for that. Whereas something like a sorcery, something like a cryptic, something like Alpha Clash, all of these games that we're talking about that don't really have a devout following cannot have that same type of fanatic devotion. It just won't. There's no established collector market out there. Disney already has had a collector market since before I was born, right? Whether it be the original cells or posters or just any kind of Disney paraphernalia, Mickey Mouse hats, you name it. So there is an entire market there just for Lorcana, which is where that comes from. And I'm not trying to shill for Lorcana because it's got its own problems.
Yeah.
I agree with you that most games need to have solid gameplay, but if you've ever played Star Wars Destiny, I thought it had super solid gameplay, but it had poor management from Fantasy Flight Games if you've ever played most of their games. They have another game that I love, and I introduced it to Matt. It's the Lord of the Rings living card game. Excellent game. Matter of fact, speaking of which, and I'm hoping this is going to be good, my daughter got this for me for my birthday. I don't know if you recognize this. I haven't opened it. I'm going to do it on stream. I was going to do it tonight, but you're our guest. This is that new TCG from Fantasy Flight game for Star Wars. So We have that as a teaser for folks. Maybe next week. We're not going to do it while you're here.
Tune back next week for more.
But they even have, Lorcana is going to dip into Star Wars. They're going to dip into the Marvel universe. They're going to dip into everything that they've got.
Indiana Jones, yeah, absolutely. Why not?
So
ESPN.
again, there's just nothing that's even in that ballpark of a Lorcana. Like nothing's even close.
I think at the core, and this is what I tell a lot of people who ask me, like, should I collect A or B or C, right? I have to like it, because at the end of the day, like, Magic for me is like this. If Magic dies tomorrow, every card is literally worth $. I don't sell any of my sealed product. I call my friends over. We get 8 together. We draft, whatever. Right, War of the Spark. We draft some Ravnica, whatever.
Yeah.
That
Mark,
has
we
value
need
to
to
me
exchange.
because I still like the game, right? And so the
that's
problem
the
with
whole point of
Lorcana
it.
for me is that if I collect it, I don't really want to open it. If you guys aren't buying it for me, it's worth nothing to me. That's why I just don't want to get into it, because at the end of the day, like, it has to mean something for me, and that's the key, right? The game has to be, like, again, like, I'm probably going to play Lorcana a little bit because I think the gameplay is going to be pretty good. I do want to see how other games are designed because you can learn a lot from there. But am I going to go, like, pretty deep in collecting and investing in it? Probably not. But that's just me.
I'll play it
I know
at
there's
Gen
a lot of people
Con.
out there who are going to do it, and that's up to them, right?
If Gen Con's got anything for Lorcana, I'll give it a shot, but I highly doubt. Like, I'll say it's probably less than 5% chance that I invest anything more than a starter deck. I don't know, it
And
just
I
doesn't
always tell
appeal to me
people
at
that.
all.
I do. If you watch our show, Mark, you'll see. I tell people all the time. When it comes to buying Magic products, my recommendation is, don't buy it if you'd be sad being stuck with it. I have, I don't know how much sealed. I got more than somebody should have. I'm like having to make space for it at this point. But yeah, we should exchange numbers because people ask me all the time, like, well, how are you going to sell those and where are you going to sell these? And I'm like, I don't know if I am. Like, I may just get to that point and hopefully I'm financially stable enough that, hell yeah, in 10 or 15 years, just crack open one of my cases of Commander Legends and just start playing that on the weekends with friends. And I agree with you. It has to be, like, I went back and bought, because a bunch of Star Wars Destiny sealed boxes just like last year, because they had them on like fire sale for $50 a box, and you can play that as a draft style, and that's what they're there for. With almost everything that I buy at this point, I have to be willing to accept that it goes to 0, and I'm just as happy being able to open the game next year, open the boxes and play, which is why I only buy draft, really, either. I don't buy collectors, I don't buy set, because I want to be able to crack the product open and just play some draft or sealed with friends.
All right, enjoy that.
Guess what I'm going to do in about an hour?
Play some
I don't know if I
games.
can say it on live
play some games.
YouTube. They might shut our channel down, but
Yes,
you
we're
do
gonna
show
play,
waifu cards, so
strip
Yeah.
Magic. That's great.
there we go.
Yeah, we're gonna go
I
play
don't-
something Commander. Maybe we'll play some board games today. Finally. Yeah.
Big board
Yeah,
game
that's my
fan.
Thursday. My Thursday nights are board games / We've been playing it's board game / Commander / whatever card game's out.
Nice.
But we've been playing Gloomhaven's Frosthaven. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gloomhaven Frosthaven, but Frosthaven is, I don't know. That's been on hold for the last couple of weeks, but that's been our game for a while. We actually, one of the buddies is I don't know, an artist, actor. So he's in a play or something that lasts, I think, one more week, and then we finally get him back. But it's been kind of hell. Having one of your friends that you're normally used to playing every Thursdays, and then now there's only 3 people. 3 people's an odd number.
Yeah, it is.
So what if you're playing board games, Mark? Now you've just opened up a whole nother hour of our show here.
Dude,
Like,
hey, if you guys
what
want
kind of
to
board
chat
games
more,
and what do you-
I'll be here every week.
hey, don't say that because I might take you up on it.
I was gonna say,
like-
be
I like
careful.
talking.
We'll take you up on it. Yeah.
Like I have Tabletop Simulator. Do you play on that? Like for games that I don't have and I'm distant.
I almost downloaded TTS to play Grand Archive because a lot of
I do it.
Yeah, there's
I've heard
there's
of
a
it,
lot of
yeah.
players.
Seriously.
I mean, basically nowadays, if you want to get remote games on Grand Archive, I think it's like pretty instant. Anytime you get in the Discord of 4,000 people, you just say looking for game. I think most people reply within like seconds. But yes, TTS. I thought about getting it for Grand Archive, but obviously that does open the field for almost playing anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
I do like playing paper or in-person board games though, because there's a lot of like shenanigans I can do, like throw shit at people across the table. But otherwise, yeah. I mean,
So come on up
I'm
here to
down.
Ohio then. Come on up to
Sure.
Ohio because Matt lives 20 minutes away. Well, yeah, shit. My house has got geek all over it. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Ohio. Columbus, I guess more. I've been there a couple times
Okay.
for work.
Yeah, Columbus is about 2.5 hours south of us. 3 hours.
No, it's about an hour and 45 minutes south of here.
It's about 15
Of
hours
me.
south of us.
Yeah.
If you're walking.
No, at any rate, what board games? Because we're kind of dodging the question here. Like
Sure,
when you say
sure.
board game, not card games.
Let's see. So a go-to favorite of mine that's easy for everyone to pick up is Bang, right? The
Okay,
Italian
Bang.
character.
Which one, the card or the dice game? Because I have the dice Bang.
The card game. I've never played the dice game. The card
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
I have the
So,
dice
like,
game Bang.
yeah, man. Like, dude, back in college, one of my friends introduced me to this Joel Moody with a big booty. He pulled the most ridiculous shit ever in a Bang game I've ever seen in my life, right? So this fool is a fugitive, right? And he was trying to play it off as the Vice. No, he was he was the renegade, and he was trying to play off as the Vice. So to prove that he's the Vice, he turns up his character card and he reads the Italian of a Vice to everybody at the table. So his then girlfriend, now wife, did not shoot him and shot me instead. I was the real Vice. And then she loses her hand and he kills her next round, right? But
That just
this
sounds
guy
like
is
coup.
so devoted. He memorized in Italian the Vice text. And it was convincing enough that she shot me.
Mono.
Because here's the problem. He just read my card. And I'm like, well, if I say the same thing, she's still not going to believe me. I get wrecked.
So you like the social deduction games?
Oh,
There's a
love
whole
it.
slew of them.
Have you ever played
Secret
like
Hitler, so on and so
Sidario
forth.
Eternal Confluence? That's a fun game. Sidario
Not
Eternal
familiar.
Confluence. It's
So
basically
is Bank like coup?
Bane is like
Is it Bank or Bang?
bang, like
Bang.
a shot, bang.
Like a
shooting.
gun. Okay.
It's
It's
a
a Wild
Western.
West.
It's a
Yeah.
Western, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so it sounds like a Western version of coup. It's like you're provided
Yes.
a secret role, and then like you
Yeah.
have to, based on the actions you take, you can take any actions, but you can only legally take your action if somebody calls you out that you took a different action that you don't actually have. Then you get like, you know.
But you have cards. So in Bane, you like draw a hand and you play those cards.
Okay.
So you actually there's kind of like a think of it more like
It's
exploding
more in depth
kittens.
than what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
so you're shooting people. They might dodge. They might whatever, draw 3 cards, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of those kind of things. There's like enchantments even in this game. Basically, you like put like your equipments down, and you have guns, and there's like range. It's pretty complicated.
You might
That's
want
a
to
good
check
game.
out a game called High Noon Saloon if you're into that.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Western games. As a matter of fact, I picked up the Zombicide Western. Do you play Zombicide?
So good. Oh, Zombicide.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Have you played the Western one?
No, I've never even
Oh
heard
my
of it.
god, it's brutal. It's like
Are they
it's
still
like
killing
Attack on
zombies or
Titan
killing
brutal.
like each other?
What's that?
Western zombies.
So it's Western zombie, right?
yeah, right. Zombies
Yeah.
with ponchos and sombreros.
Yeah, it's called
Zombies with
Undead
the
or Alive.
fucking
I think
hat.
I kickstarted it. It's really good, but the problem I have with the original, the OG Zombicide, is it's just too easy. Like
Yeah.
you can figure out the I win strategy pretty
Yep.
quickly.
Yep.
So they changed it up, and let me tell you, it's gross. It is super difficult. With Undead or Alive, it's brutal. If you watch any of the board game reviews, but I like it. It's good. Not really a go-to. My go-to is probably Clank. If you've ever heard of that.
No. Let's
Oh
see.
my god, amazing game! And they have Clank. They have a Legacy Clank, kind of like Pandemic
Yeah.
Legacy. But I think Clank Legacy was voted the #1 Legacy game. I want to say.
Okay.
All
All right.
If have you ever tried like the Thanos Rising games? That's another interesting one. I like co-op. Co-op's kind of like my jam. I'm big co-op player. But they have Thanos Rising, and if you were lucky enough, you could get the Dark Side Rising, which is a Star Wars version of it, which is a combo deck builder, dice builder game. So, co-op. Oh
So
my
we've
god!
got
look
a
at that round.
question
Holy
for
shit.
you from Coach's Magic.
Yeah.
This one's for Mark. Aside from dual lands and ABU, what reserve list cards have potential, or do you see that as a money pit? And thank you,
So-
Coach, for the question.
Thanks. Yeah. Reserve list, I split into high-low. There's a low crap. It's just the bullshit like Mirage, reserve list, Vision, stuff like that. Don't buy into those things. But you have a lot of options, right? Grim Monolith is a good one. The Drake. There's a lot of like good reserve list cards out there. Some of the ones that probably can't say on the show are good cards too. There's pseudo reserve lists in the sense that like it's too sensitive or
Right, they've been censured.
yeah, that kind of cards you're probably fine. There's also the things I like honestly, like Markov. I mean, I say that people don't believe me, but I'm telling you, like Gavin's pretty firm on never printing another Markov. So you're probably okay buying that card, probably. But again, it's up to you, right? I just buy it because I want to have a Markov deck or have the option to have one. But you don't need to hold that card.
You don't think that's going to get reprinted in Commander
I
Masters?
think 100% is.
I think once we push the power level above a certain point, yes. But the problem with what's that mechanic? Not domain, but like
Eminence.
Right?
Eminence.
It's just too strong. Like they tried
Well,
it
they're
again.
reprinting the Dragon.
Yep.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it's,
that's
but
Eminence.
the Markov. Well, okay, so if they're reprinting Dragon, I didn't hear about this, but if that's true, then
Oh, yeah.
maybe all bets are
Yeah,
off.
it's
Fuck
in
it.
Commander Master.
Sell all
I-
your Markovs. Never mind.
Literally the
all
next
bets
set.
are off.
Yeah.
I-
But, okay,
here's a hot take. All bets
so
are
back
off,
to the
including
original. Let me finish
reserve
answering the question, and we'll hot take. But yeah, dual lands are fine. But honestly, if you want to get into like legit investing, I would start buying power. Right. Your P9s, that's easy stuff. Lotus is probably will always hold some value, even the unlimited Lotus, which in argument, that's the only white border Lotus out there in the world. So there's going to be somebody who's probably going to want that version, not the black border ones from Alpha Beta. I personally started with my biggest ticket item on the reserve list was Tabernacle. I bought that like 2020, I think, or earlier. I like that card. It's going to be very fun. Cradles, you have a lot of options that are not just dual lands. Dual lands, I think, revised duels especially, is definitely entry. And if you want some better looking duels, buy the unlimited duels, much richer color, and honestly, not even that much more expensive than revised, in my opinion. Like 3x multiplier is too low for that card, for those cards.
So talking about reserved cards and old cards, what do you think about Magic 30?
Magic 30?
Yeah.
I guess you didn't watch my Hold the Line videos. Yeah, I basically
did.
bashed the shit out of it. I told everyone, no one's gonna buy the shit. Like, if you're a scalper, please buy it, and then we're all gonna tank you once you have to sell it for like 0. Obviously, I think the whole entire world gathered together, all the collectors and the players, right? So WotC took the message. I think they understand they can't go from 0 to 100, which is why they're kind of doing the frog in the boiling water thing now. Which is you see how every product's creeping up in price, and they're starting to pump higher and higher like power levels, right, of reprints. So we're gonna get back to Magic 30 again, but this time it's gonna be slow, and maybe there will just be chase. Like imagine there's a dual land as a serialized card or whatever, one of these days in a triple Masters collector's booster gift edition. So this is gonna be $1,000 booster box of 4 packs, and you could possibly get a dual land in a box topper, maybe. That's where I think.
You think they'll do the thing where it won't be a reprint? They'll just like source cards to insert into packs, or you think they'll like, just reprint it?
That's a good point, right? I don't know. I don't know if they have any more, honestly.
I'm sure they can source them. That's what didn't they do that recently? They said they sourced a bunch of different cards from Legends. Really, well, Legends they had the
Legends they
boxes.
found in a warehouse.
They
Who
found
knows
the
if that's-
boxes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not gonna judge either way. I think they actually did find the boxes. I
Sure.
think they didn't find them. They had them all.
I think they
along,
had them, and they were like, "Oh,
they
look,
decided to
this is
insert
time
into
to
here,
deploy
yeah.
them."
Do you remember when Zendikar did that special insert when people were pulling Black Lotuses from unlimited Black Lotuses at like LGSs during Zendikar, original Zendikar, Priceless Treasures. You guys don't know
Priceless
about this?
Oh yeah,
Treasures.
yeah.
We're well aware. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely possible to do something like that in the future too, if they want to source it. Yeah, and it's not
Actually-
reprinted. It's fair.
I made a video over 2 years ago now that I said that they can and will reprint reserve list cards. The only stipulation is they can't be tournament legal. And even Rudy, because actually it's one of the reasons I even started getting on YouTube. Because people are like, oh no, you're wrong, you're crazy, you're out of your mind, blah blah blah. They'll never do it. I'll be honest, it surprised me that they did it in mass. Like, okay, fuck it, we're not just reprinting dual lands, we're gonna reprint all of beta. I was like, okay, that was
It's kind of dumb.
well, virtually all of beta. At any rate, I called it back then, and what I'm seeing now, I'm going to go a step further. I think at some point it's going to be with this. If they don't change management, they are going to just basically abolish the reserve list, and they'll do it in one of 2 ways. They will either just straight up abolish it, because that whole legal argument is just so silly. There's no way you would ever win a case against WotC if they decided to print every reserve list card there is in mass. Like that's just we can get into that if you want. I have all the documentation, and I talked with Pat, and we were talking about doing a show on it, but that would just bore people. The legalese. At any rate, it's like a restraining order that anybody can walk through, and good luck suing them on it. Secondly, they could just print better reserve list cards because it's just a rumor that they said that people say. It's like this common knowledge thing that is not real. It's fugazi. It's fugazi. You know, that people say, oh, you can't print better cards than what's on the reserve list. Bullshit. So just print this Joker with cycling on it, or it comes in with, call it a different name. It's the dual land, and it's got, draw a card when you put this in. Like, there's no limit to what they can do to push sales, to drive prices up.
Yeah.
They are absolutely greedy. And if they don't get better stewardship that is trying to keep the game for longevity, like what I think Flesh and Blood is trying to do, they're going to burn it out. They're trying to wring that bar towel for every drop in it. And
what do you think? Okay, so you, Bob, are you a Fab fan?
No, not really.
Okay. Well,
I'm a fan of what he's doing. I'm looking at like the management. I'm a Fab management fan, if you want to look at it that way. Management
Fab curious
for the game. What's that?
Fab curious.
Right.
I am Fab curious. No, I have some, and I have like my most valuable. I don't know which one's most valuable. I probably have a few $1,000s in Fab, but it's not like significant. It's dabbling. I fabble. I don't really invest hard. I dabble in Fab.
Dabble in the fabble.
But I follow it. Like, I follow what they're doing. One of the things I think that is amazing that WotC and every other card game should do that Fab is doing is publish their print run numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It establishes rapport with your buying audience.
Okay, maybe I can convince you to be a Grand Archive investor now. Grand Archive not only publishes print run numbers, they publish card population on every single card. The most common card, they'll have pop report on the foil, non-foil, every version. So that website you were looking at, look at it again on the top. It'll tell you the pop. It'll even tell you if something is reserve list. They'll say, we do not plan on printing, or we will not print this card again, meaning this art, this frame, this whatever. Other ones will say, this is the current population. We do expect to print this in the future. So it's very clear. This is up for reprint. These are not.
The population meaning number of cards in circulation?
Correct. So like, as they print boxes, they're like, okay, we printed this many of this rare, right? So we add another 1,000 into the pop. That's all published. So people can just be like,
really
okay,
impressive.
well, this one's more rare. I'm going to pay $400, not $200. It's kind of up to you, right? Yeah.
So
market will decide.
First off, Mark, if you just ask me to buy some Grand Archive because it's a game you love, and out of respect, I'll buy some. Just for you, period. That's the way I roll. Secondly, to your point earlier with many of the things, and I think it's important and incumbent upon us as fair and balanced YouTube news givers. That's the way I look at it. I don't give a shit about money. I mean, we're not monetized. I try to be as honest and straightforward with people, so our following, hopefully, they at least get the straight scoop from us. And by espousing all these things, by saying over and over again the things, like, I think that's important, and I think that'll catch investors' ears. And you as a personality, being out there sharing information about it, that's good. That's what we need to be doing. We need to not do the WotC thing and just sweep that inconvenient fact under the rug.
Yeah.
No, call them out. That's what the community's there for. We're here to support each other and not get, I hate to say it because even people watching the show, there's gonna be some Timmies watching this show, and Timmies need protection.
Yeah.
And by pointing these things out, I think it's healthy for the entire community. So that's good. And I'll take a look at it. I'd never really heard of Grand Archive before tonight, to be quite fair.
It's on TCG Player, so that's definitely more popular than the Grand Archive.
They
reputable.
pulled that shit in like week 1. I mean, the game dropped and TCG Player announced their thing. Reed Duke did a review of Grand Archive. So I'm just, hey, it's not just Mark
I can tell you there's one thing I don't like about it so far that I found, and it's a very small niche thing.
Yeah.
Is that the creators is called Weebs of the Shore.
Dude, once my interview drops, please watch
name.
it. I sat with this dude, right? And I was like, look, anime cards, none of my MTG friends are going to give this a double take, right? I have to push so hard to get him to even try this. Number 2, look, man, you're going to be really successful. From what I've seen, this game is super hot. But seriously, do you want 10, 20, 30 years from now where people are like, oh man, this company's so cool? What's their name? oh, a joke of another company, it just seems like a really bad plan, like 10 years in the future. But I think it's actually pretty easy to correct it. Like, Google changed their name, right? ABC or whatever, Alphabet. So I think that there's always Meta. Like, you can just change your name later. It's not a big deal. But yes, I agree. It's a really bad. Dude, it's like 6 dudes, right? Who are like,
what is
it'd
the
be really
joke?
cool if we're called Weebs the Shore, yeah. When they were Kickstarter.
Instead of Wizards of the Coast.
Is that what it
Weebs.
is?
Yeah, Weebs
Yeah.
of the Shore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Weebs of the
Wizards of the
Shore.
Coast,
Oh.
Weebs of the Shore, yeah. So it's a joke, but it's like, man, you don't want your name to be a joke. That's kind of like not a good idea long term.
And Mark, it looks like Coach has got another question for you.
Sure.
With serialized or bust in a lot of the recent sets, is Commander Masters dead long term with the chase
Yes.
being non-serialized textured cards?
Yeah. You know why? What's the print run?
Who knows?
Exactly. Who's going to
Right.
trust them? They could say any number; it doesn't matter, right? I mean, nowadays with serialized, I do the math on the whiteboard, and people still don't believe me. So, like, I mean, WotC has lost all faith, right? And at least with a serialized card, I can get pretty close to understanding what the print run is. I have no fucking clue what Commander Master is going to be printed. And just because there's no supply from LGS or distribution does not mean there's not a secret warehouse, right? Where they burn the product later if it doesn't sell well and unleash that shit if it
There's
does.
so much solar going on right now.
Right. We just cross streams here. Jesus.
Oh my god!
I want to piggyback on what you're saying, Mark. And I think in addition to that, I think you need to take that question a step further besides what's just the print run, but what's to stop them from reprinting anything in here again?
Yep, exactly.
Like the reprints are killing the game. Like,
reprints anyways. That's the thing is these are all reprints. It's just the fancy version that's going to be expensive. Well, honestly, what's weird as shit is on TCG Player right now, the extra thick display cards from the commander decks are okay. You've seen this too, right? It's the dumbest shit that people are
like
paying.
the oversized cards. Put those
too.
back in. I like the oversized ones. I don't care if they grow.
I still have some of mine.
Commander that I put it on my table. There's my commander.
Yeah.
Put that shit out there.
So it's funny because I bought for my buddy's birthday last year. I bought him an oversized Shivan Dragon. It was the fucking coolest thing. He almost he shook my hand. That's not a thing we do. $200.
And I will say, look at this jeweled logo.
Man, brother, love them.
Real good.
Love oversized cards. Mistake getting away from them.
They should stop doing all this. Like, they should just do more.
The dungeons make a ton of sense too. I have the dungeons.
Oh, dude.
Somebody gave them. The dungeons are so nice.
I totally agree. This thing is so much easier to read than the small little card I can put my dice on it. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to know?
You can even put a figure. You could put an actual mini figure on it. Like I don't know. I have a bunch of D&D. I'm a D&D nerd. So you could put one of these dudes on it. So you're traveling through the dungeon.
I have possibly the rarest oversized dungeon card in existence.
Which one?
Is it a misprint?
It is a crimped, oversized dungeon card.
Don't get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
right. I left it in the wrapper because I'm like, holy shit. This. I wonder how many of these are going to ever exist.
Yeah.
This is the problem, right? With all foils from WotC. I mean, even the oversized, they can't solve
but it's
this
not
problem.
just WotC. I mean, to be fair, Fab has a fair amount of curling, and many of them do. I actually liked. Did you? If you ever get into Star Wars Destiny, some of the things they did, they have transparent cards. They're see-through. They do lots of crazy versions that you could only get when you went and played in tournaments and things of that nature. They were not particularly rare, but they didn't just go crazy with the foils. They did interesting things, like I said, with I can't remember what they call them, paned glass, like Luke Skywalker, where you could see through the card. It was kind of very cool.
It's nice.
Why are people buying this for $250? I don't understand.
Dude, it's the same reason that people were paying.
It's
remember this one? Do you guys remember what we did a couple weeks ago? What the price on this Joker was?
I think they're still that price though.
It was
I don't think
they are not $75. They were $25 on release.
See, the problem with the One Ring is the modern players. They don't know how to deal with this shit. So the One Ring is really expensive right now. Everyone's gonna run it. The One Ring is now the new Soul Ring of every deck.
It is
Mark,
really
you know
good.
that these were in every bundle, right? And you could buy a bundle for $50.
I try to tell people this, and nobody believes me. They're like, no, it's random. And that one.
How
is
did
the
you
most
get your
rare
bundles
one.
already? By the way, it's not even out yet.
Yeah, no, regular bundles. They're in the regular bundle.
Oh,
yeah, we're waiting on
That's
the
the
gift
thing.
editions.
I bought my regular bundles for $42.
I want my gift edition. I still haven't gotten it.
Okay, what I'm saying is I bought the regular bundles for $42 a piece while people were buying that one card that's guaranteed to be in every bundle at $79 a piece on TCG Player, Jimmy.
They're still paying that, by the way.
Jesus. No, they're not paying that. I just looked at it. It was
Look
like,
at it. Look at it. Look at it.
It's $50.
well,
That's the
it
cheapest
depends
version.
on which one it is, right?
Yeah,
There are different versions of it.
that's the cheapest one. Yeah. See, this is where they figure out that's part of the bundle.
People, don't buy it for that price. Go buy a bundle. You
Yeah,
get
you
the
can literally
8
buy a
packs for
bundle
free
on
and the whole
Amazon.
team. The hell's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can literally go to. Actually, you can probably go to TCG on the same site you're buying the card from.
Hey,
Hold on,
quick
can I search
question.
for-
Yeah, I mean, that would be funny if that's the same price as an actual bundle on TCG and you can get it in the bundle.
Can't I?
What do you think about Monarch 1E? First edition
Okay,
Monarch.
so funny enough, Monarch First Edition is like
Yes.
when I
Yes.
got into Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
they're
had
90.
some
They're
pre-orders.
$93.
I had
Wow.
pre-orders for Monarch First Edition, and it got over $200. And I was like, that seems like it's going to be too much. So I canceled the, I think, 3 or 4 pre-orders I had for it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because honestly, it was a huge debacle.
Yeah.
But now I think with Flesh and Blood 2.0, I really like this model. It makes it more difficult to be a true collector because the first edition is phenomenal shelf candy.
Yeah.
But with Fab 2.0, you can just buy one box. There's just one
crap.
product line, and it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
So, Mark, I'm going to help you to like me even less right now. I actually bought Rudy's bundle for Monarch First Edition.
How much you pay for that? Like, was it the $300
$1,000.
for how many boxes? Like
2.
4, right?
2.
Monarch to 1K. Let's go.
What? Oh my god.
I
don't-
timid hard, but now
Hey,
to be fair,
but to
I
be
did-
fair, I will tell you this: Rudy is not a liar. He got tricked too. He got rug
sure,
pulled
he got
too.
duped
He didn't
as
know
well.
what's going
Right,
on.
yeah.
Because the only person who knew was CFB. Can I say that on this channel? Are we gonna get canceled?
Whatever.
I- we
Hey
don't
guys,
care.
Channel Fireball fucked up. Okay, they
Yeah.
did this.
Well, they didn't fuck up. They fucked
no, they didn't
everyone.
fuck
No,
up. They fucked you
were
up. Sorry.
scummy.
Yeah,
they
they
were scumbag
yeah, this.
on that.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Mark, feel free. That this is an outlet for you to say whatever the
Oh,
fuck you
yes,
want on
yeah.
YouTube, right? Seriously. We don't care. It's fine.
$300
own
for the
reputation.
Great Henge.
But
what is wrong with
It's
people?
it's the surge foil,
Don't,
Matt.
Surge
Don't,
foil is very
please
rare.
don't, because the
The
fool in this
surge
money you're
foils
soon
are
pardoned.
extraordinarily rare.
But this is the problem with Magic nowadays, right? Like, I pull one of this card. I don't know if it's a Surge foil, a Halo foil, an Etch foil, a Supreme foil. Like, what the fuck did I get?
Yeah.
Like, do you know if... I mean, like, it's already bad that some people are like, hey, here's a... Like, I remember last week or something, somebody was trying to trade me a Legends card, but he didn't know it was, like, Chronicles, right? And I was like, hey, dude, White Border Chronicles. And he's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, all right, we're at the LGS. Ask anybody here. Guys, is this Chronicle or Legends? Like, Chronicles. I'm like, all right, okay, right. But now Wizards redoing it again. It's even worse because you have players who scan the card. They think they have the Surge foil version, but it's actually just the crappy, like, normal foil version or whatever.
I think they do it on purpose.
You think
I'm
so?
not going to lie. I think because look at it. They don't even put the same type of chase, like the chase for, where was the absolute chase out of Pabo, out of All Will Be One? What was the big hype chase in that entire set? Where was it?
The serialized, right? Was there a
Wrong.
serialized in all of you one?
Nope. It was in the oil slick bundles, right? The complete bundles. Remember that? So that was the product to buy for that one. And then you get others where the collector box is the product to buy. But you know where the chase is in Lord of the Rings? Does anybody know where it is?
Well, it was in the collectors, but it still is.
Wrong?
Still is.
Not really. Not really.
Orcish Bowmaster.
No. You know where it's at? And people don't even think about this. It's in those silly packs that you get in the commander
The
decks.
sample
The-
collector packs
the
out of
sample
the
pack, right? That's where you're
Which
getting $500, $700 cards out of.
Yeah, I want to buy.
You see the look
a-
on your face, Mark? And this is what I'm saying. They do it on purpose.
I say explain this because my cousin at an LGS last night pulled the One Ring borderless from one of those commander precons. Is there, like, are they seeded better? Because I've opened some of those myself in the past and they suck.
Yeah,
collector
for some
sample pack?
reason now they're better. I don't know why. I
They're
mean, I guess they
seeding
made
it.
them
Okay,
good.
all right. This
Yeah, they're
seed.
There
definitely
was
better than
a
before.
video that Kitchen Table TCG put out.
Yeah.
He's an LGS owner, and I think he opened 50 of them.
Mhm.
And honestly, it was a pretty good haul,
Mhm.
but he averaged it all out, and it was like 457 per card.
Jesus.
So it definitely adds a good bit of value,
Okay.
but you really do need to hit one of those surge foils for it to be the extraordinary hit.
I will
Okay.
say the oil slicked lands from this set. I really want them, but I'm not
Killer,
paying
right?
$7 a piece.
Yeah, they're really good.
So
I have two
yeah,
of them. I might just open them.
At any rate, I mean that was the whole reason I bought them, and I bought the complete bundles. What did I say? Like $35 a piece or whatever it was. Like way back in December.
Man,
and
I
was
love
you guys,
buying
like,
shit on Amazon.
I want you guys
Yeah.
to rewatch. I want you guys to rewatch
30?
our own show because you guys were shitting on me in December
Yeah.
about pointing out that that's what you would need to pick. I got them like way early,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter. Look, what I was getting at, Mark, is that they're changing up and keeping you constantly guessing product to product to product to product of which one do I get. And if you don't pay attention this close, understand we as content creators pay way closer attention to the fucking game than the average person that just wants to work all week, has 2 kids, and wants to play once a month. And they're like, shit, what do I buy out of the new set? Wait, do I buy the pre-con or the pre-release kits? Do I buy a pre-con deck? Do I buy the bundle? Do I buy the set box? Do I buy, dude? People don't have that kind of time in their life to figure that out once you become an adult. And I think WotC does it on purpose to keep you having to buy a little bit of each one to make sure I don't miss out on where the good shit is. And I
mean, even this conversation, Mark is a pretty solid content creator. You know, you've got like 3,500 subs at this point, and it's all like TCG focused. And for this to be the breaking news more than an hour in of like, oh yeah, those sample collector packs are fire.
I didn't know, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, most of the time
like,
they're
that's the
shit.
thing.
but you see where I'm going. Like I feel it's intentional, and I feel it's scummy.
It absolutely is, Bob. I mean,
that they're just trying to constantly change shit up so much set to set as what do you actually chase? Which version is actually worth going after? Because I think to your point, Mark, and I said it with Brothers War, they Watsified the serialized. Like they had it with the Viscera Seer. I'm like, oh, that's so baller. But then the first time they actually put it into production, they put out 35,000 serialized cards. That's
and a bunch of bullshit ones too. Yeah,
it's garbage. Why would you not just pick like 5 cards to serialize and only put out 100 of each and really make people chase them? But don't just put it in the collector packs. Put them in every product. Like you don't know where it's going to pop up. So people have to buy a little bit of each, right?
You and I
maybe
should like
seed them
pool
more in
our
the
money
collector.
together and just buy WotC because I think we'll make a lot of money and players will be happy.
I would be terrible at that because I suck at politics. I'm too apt to go into
We'll keep Mark Rosewater on the staff to create.
Actually, I like Mark. Matt and I
think
talked
he's
to him for. Oh, we loved him. He was a very good guy. We talked to him for a few hours at over a couple of days at M30. We were a Black Lotus VIP and we got to like sit. It was a very
He just
genuine.
came back and sat at the table and just chat with us for a few hours.
Poor guy is he's the donkey, right? He's the scapegoat for every bad thing. Yeah. Actually, there was nobody that was really bad there. I loved Elaine Chase. I thought she was awesome.
He was cool. I got to draft with her.
There, I would say Aaron Forsyth was a little bit more douchey because I was talking to somebody else about, hey, you need to make sure that you put PVE in. And he turns to me and says, he can't make that happen, but I can. I'm like, fuck you, then do it. Right? I don't care.
Then talk to him. That's what he's saying.
No, he didn't want to talk. Then he turned around and went back right to what he was saying, basically saying, this guy's a pleb. He can't do anything, but I can.
I would have been like, get your ass over here, motherfucker. Let's talk.
He didn't want to talk, but that's what I'm saying. He was just like, look at me. I'm Mr. Important hard nipples guy, and I can do this, but this guy can't. And then he turned back around to his conversation. I'm like, okay, if you can do it, talk to me about it. What the fuck? But
I think the creators
I don't think
of the game
none of them are as douchey as Chris Cox and Cynthia Williams. I think those people just have no business being in a CCG at all, period. Send them back to Amazon. They got no business in a CCG.
I mean, they're making money for the company. That's almost the worst part of this story.
You know what? I could make a shitload of money by selling my house, but now I'm fucked because I got no place to live. And that's what they're doing.
I'm in the same.
Cashing out their future equity now.
Bob, what you don't understand is they're selling your house for a shit ton.
Oh yeah, no, I understand it. They lay it all up.
They go to they then sell my house, and I'm like, right? And it's like it's Matt's job to go clean that up. Hey Matt, you're the new CEO of Hasbro. Have fun. right? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
ooh,
No.
yeah.
Oh, they're going to drop that poop bomb on somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be after the. I feel sorry for the next. You know who it's going to be? It's going to be Mark Rosewater. They'll just hand the
You
keys
get
to
me
Mark
in
and say,
charge
"Deal with
again.
it."
Isn't this great?
Yeah. When they reprint every card already and everybody left the game. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Hi,
every
my name's
like they've
Mark.
already
I'm
dropped
king of the
reserve
shit
list.
pile. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
crap,
here's the
the
flaming
price
shit
disparity
piece.
between Commander Master set boosters on TCG versus Amazon is wild.
Yeah.
Amazon is pre-ordering for $476 for a set booster box, and TCG is $375. It's $100 cheaper.
I wouldn't buy any of it. I'm not touching it. I bought very
Yeah.
little Lord of the
No.
Rings. These were gifts. And Mark, if you get, by the way, I love doing sealed over spell table.
Mhm.
If you want to ever get like a pre-release, and I don't care what set,
Mhm.
and you know, we could do. I know you said you don't. That's kind of confusing. You don't want to go live with your gameplay, or you don't like it, or
Oh, I play. I just don't like. My content is not about the gameplay. But actually, you know, it's really crazy. I'm about to do some Grand Archive deck techs and stuff like that. Not really deck techs, but like more like tips and tricks for new players. A little bit more advanced tips, I guess. Things like that. But in general, like I'm just not a really great player. I will play limited and all that stuff because that is actually what I do. But
Just talking about topping tournaments. What do you mean you're not a great player?
no. I'm gonna try.
Oh, you seemed confident.
Mark,
okay,
I
like, don't
promise
know.
you.
I'm
promise you-
doing well at the locals, right? But that's,
Okay.
that's partially because I think I'm just net decking. Like I'm not a great brewer, but I feel like I can pilot decently, and I'm starting
Everything's
getting a
gonna be
better hang of the game.
Someone was detected at your front
Everybody
door.
net decks. First of all,
Someone
secondly,
was
I can
detected
promise
at
you,
your door.
if you start broadcasting live gameplay, you'll have at least one viewer that will watch, and I might even like I can tip. Like you're at the level I can like tip. You know,
Okay.
I'd watch.
All right.
I would definitely like because I'm unaware. Are there like lots of content creators where I can go? I like watching gameplay rather. Deck techs are fine, but I want to see the gameplay to see how the interactions are.
You know what we should do, Bob? Join the Grand Archive Discord, and there's players playing all the time, and just join one of the rooms. They're just open. They're sharing the screen. You can just like look at them play.
Okay.
If you want
I
to
was
chat
trying
with
to
them,
encourage
great.
you
If
to
they
play.
may not want to talk back to you, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, just ask them questions. If you're new, and people are super friendly. I guarantee you, if you join, you're like, I'm Bob. I'm a content creator, and like, I just want to check out this game. People will literally mail you starter decks and shit like that, so you can just try it.
I would.
guarantee
I
it.
don't like that. I'll buy it. I got money.
Okay,
I'll buy mine.
okay. You don't even need to say you're a content creator. You just go in there like I'm new. People will probably mail it to you because
Right,
this community
yeah.
is pretty friendly. Like
I
I'm
want to
just
watch
some
you
guy.
play, Mark.
because there's
I wanna
guys
watch
who open
you
like
play.
72 starter decks and they don't need 71 of them, right? So they're just gonna ship you everything else.
But the point is, I want to watch you play, Mark.
Sure. Okay.
You're my progenitor for
Oh my god. All right. Okay. Yeah.
for the game. So
Okay.
Progenitor.
see.
Did you know that's an
Progenitor.
Alpha Clash card type, Bob?
Boom.
Oh, very
Content.
thematic for the evening.
Contender. Progenitor.
Alpha Clash.
Yeah, Alpha Clash is good. I'm telling you, it's multiplayer. It's 1v1, and I think it's so Flesh and Blood. In my opinion, multiplayer is ass. I've tried it. It does not feel good. It feels really strange.
Ultimate Pit Fighter.
But Alpha Clash has a multiplayer, and the way that it is, it's more closer to Magic than Flesh and Blood because you have like actual creatures that can block and attack and stuff. That is definitely more more exciting to me.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 boxes coming, and you best believe I'm gonna make some decks out of those boxes and get my friends to play it and see what they think.
What about
So
Grand
far, the
Archive?
3 games that I've played, it's pretty fun. Grand Archive, I mean, I definitely
that
would.
multiplayer?
Grand Archive does not have multiplayer right now. At least not supported, but it is obviously it's a team of 6 people. I'm really hoping they don't focus on too many things. Right now, Grand Archive is mostly constructed, and there is a draft as well. But I've personally just not played the draft yet, so I can't really comment too much on it. I will be playing, I guess, some sealed coming soon. There's going to be a kind of like a pre-release kit that they're releasing with the next set. So there should be some sealed happening there too. I'll check it out and see how it plays. They actually have like special cards that are designed for sealed only, which is kind of fun. Like similar to like Commander Legends with like your commanders that can be like the one that's like prismatic
the Piper,
or something.
the
Yeah,
prismatic
stuff like that.
Piper,
It's like
yeah.
ways to kind of even it out in case you don't draft what you need. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
How do you pay for your cards? Like, how does the mana system work? Or the resource system? I
Every
should say.
card pays for 1. So the cards in your hand, you have 7, let's say. you can put 5 down and put your 5 drop down. And then next turn, before your turn kind of begins, there's like a phase to it, but you recollect those memory. These are called reserve costs. So those cards are not.
I was going to ask the reserve
They're
cost. I'm like, you have to pay 5 cards to pay for 1. That sounds horrible.
There's some cards that are 5 because they're very strong, right? Obviously. Right. But it's power level the same way as Magic. But there's essentially no T1, T2 because you can play your high end turn 1. You can play your like many low ends turn 1. It's up to you. The cool thing is that you're going to find out really quickly in Grand Archive. Magic, there's lands and cards are like kind of separate. Grand Archive resource is cards. So card draw is very strong in this game because every card you draw essentially is 1 extra mana as well. So it's not just gas, it's also resource. So card draw is very strong in this game.
Same with Alpha Clash because you start with 8 cards in your hand, but then you're playing one of those cards as a land every turn, and you're playing at least 1 card every turn. So you get to a certain point where there are 8 drops in the game, but by turn like 6 or 7, you might not have enough to even be able to play a card. You'll just die because you won't be playing anything for 2 turns because you're like trying to play a land and hoping to get that 8 drop on the field. Yeah. But there is ramp. Interesting enough, the way that they do with ramp, there's a chick called Haven something or other. That's a card name. When it enters the battlefield, you can put another card from your hand as a resource. So there is still ramp in. I don't know if there's ramp in Grand Archive.
It's called drawing cards.
I was like, I guess because every card is a resource, you don't really need ramp because you're just like.
Does Alpha Clash keep those cards that you put down permanently down? Like,
is
it resource?
You can, they're permanently gone. Yeah, which is a really cool element of gameplay because you get to see what cards they're putting down, and if you have an idea of like what kind of deck that is, you're like, oh, they played, huh? They're face up. Oh yeah, face up.
That's huge.
It's really cool. Right. I think it's really cool because you're like, oh, they just used one of their 8 drops. They only have 1 left in the deck. Like, ooh, they used 2 of their Clash buffs. You can only have 4 in the deck. They used 2 of them as resources. Maybe there's 1 in the graveyard they milled earlier. Oh, they probably only have 1 left. The odds of them having 1 is in their hand is really low. So you get a lot of resource information. I like it. I would prefer, in my opinion, it's a little annoying when you're playing the game and your cards are upside down because you have the upside down cards for your land resource pool, but then you also have like the cards above it. So like when you're tapping for land, you'll go to untap and then they'll be right side up, and you're like, no, I want them to be upside down. I think that the better solution would be to exile the card from the game and then like put in a card that like represents a land, like that, like a token, a token for the color, whatever color you exile. That would be a better elegant solution to me because I don't want to like the card upside down is a little weird, unless they plan to allow you to like bounce a resource back to your hand to then be able to replay it later on as like a resource, which would be pretty cool, or as the actual card. Because at the moment, there's no way, and to my knowledge, at least in the starter decks or in the packs that I pulled, there's no way to get those resources you put down back. Once they're there, they're fucking gone. But if there's a way later on, maybe in the design space, to be able to like bounce a resource back to your hand. To be able to replay that card, that would be pretty cool.
So I'd like to address some of Brian's asked several questions here, so I'd like to just kind of go down the list. The first one with Dockside and Commander Masters, I don't think so. Too soon?
No, it's already down to $56. If they did another reprint, it would be really rough.
Like, I just don't think so.
That they won't do it, but
I think there's a lot of targets out there, like the ones from Tempest, the medallions, like the jet medallions.
Jet Pearl.
I think
they're really good.
We might see those before we'll see something like the Dockside. So again, Dockside, I don't care. First of all, because it's already reprinted, and if they just drain it, okay, that's not going to be surprising. I don't think it's the product overall for Commander Masters. Just to be very clear. I think there's going to be a lot of sore butts out there that open very expensive boxes that are going to get shit in EV, and they're all going to tank like a freaking car going, Doyle rules over a cliff, and that shit's just going to be Commander Masters.
Yeah.
Secondly, the Lord of the Rings precon. I haven't really looked at the deck list for all the precons. I think they're overpriced at the moment. I think if you wait, and it's Commander, you can wait. There's no reason to like.
I think they're overpriced.
Prime Day's coming up, guys.
I'm just saying,
I don't think they're overpriced.
I think they're overpriced, and I think that the price is going to drop. I really do. I think that they're printed. Even Rudy said, all these things are printed to a great degree, and we're going to see it even more in December. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm patient. There's no reason to buy them right now. but I will now. I'm gonna shill for us, and actually put your face out there, Pat, because Pat came up with a Sauron flavored boss for Commander Raids that we are almost completely hashed out at this point. And it's very on point, very on flavor. It was fun to do, a little brutal to be honest.
Yeah, it was harder than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Yeah,
but it's a lot of fun. It's very thematic. So come join us in Commander Raids. Go check out our Discord. And Mark, I would really love for you to, even in private, I don't give a shit if we do this in public. If you like playing Commander at all, if you like playing, do you like PvE / co-op things? Because that's what our format is.
Link
it's
in the
PvE,
comment
co-op.
section.
So
Is
I would
this
love
kinda
for you to come
is
try
this
it out.
Kind of
with us
like
sometime.
the 3v1 format of Magic. What's it called? Nemesis?
Archenemy.
No.
Archenemy, yeah. No.
Because nobody pilots the boss.
Yeah, there's no pilot for the boss.
Autopilot,
It's basically designed to imitate a player, but via a dice roll.
Okay.
So there's a chart that you
strong player.
reference. There's 20 different results that can happen. You roll a die on its turn, and depending on what round it is, equals the number of dice you're going to roll. So if it's round 4, you'll roll 2 dice. So every even round, it adds an additional die. So at round 2, it adds the first die. You roll the dice and see what happens. And then
Matt
effects
built an
range
app.
from.
There's
Yeah,
an app in the App Store for it that
I
Matt
need to
built.
update it. It's still on version
Okay, well,
2.
update. I'm just saying there is one, and I'm sure.
But
he'll
yeah,
update it.
I built like a very generic app where like you basically just tap the screen and it rolls the die for you, and it just tells you, instead of telling you what the number is, it just tells you what the effect
The
is.
effect is, yeah.
But yeah, it's an effect of like, I mean, we've kind of evolved this over time. Before it was just like destroy all creatures with converted mana cost, whatever, or just destroy all creatures. Each player takes 5 damage.
Linked
Now it's
a Google Doc sheet there. If you check that out, you'll kind of see all the different tables and stuff, and it's got a summary synopsis at the beginning there.
And
You'd probably enjoy it.
This is why, by the way. So first of all, you guys built this yourself, right? This is like a
Yeah.
MTG thing,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
This is dude. Okay, this is 100% why Magic is still king, because there's so many fans out there doing cool shit like this, and just like it's like free consumption for the community. I'm assuming, right? Like, are you guys charging?
yeah, we're not
for-
charging
Nope,
anything.
No.
free, totally free.
Dude,
Yeah,
and
the app
but
is
it's
free.
also just an idea. You can't really like once this thing is out there, people are gonna be like, well, we just
Oh
play,
sure, we
Commander
encourage
Raids or-
people to make their own raid monsters.
We want them
Yeah.
to.
Call it-
We want the community
Yeah.
to build.
This-
The nice thing but instead, like there was actually, if you're familiar with like Defeat the Hydra and some of these things, they had decks that were self-piloted before. But in order to play those, you had to have those decks, right? Ours is just a spreadsheet that we can update at any time, make any number of bosses that you want to make different flavors. We have different strengths, like we have hard mode, easy mode, beginner mode, right? Or normal mode, hard mode, and easy mode, right? And we made the Sauron boss in flavor of Lord of the Rings. And if it's a Doctor Who thing, we can make a Doctor Who boss. We can make whatever we want on the fly instantly, change it. We have a tower raid mode where you go through multiple bosses, right? It's like
That's the one that
I
I called it Gauntlet mode. I've kind of spearheaded that one as much as I could, but
Okay.
I mean I have art for the cards and everything like.
Dude, I love this. I'm gonna. So my play group's been really having a lot of fun playing the plane chase stuff from
And
the last set.
Bob actually went ahead and even had some tokens made up.
Oh my god. That's
I had
awesome.
them printed it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
backwards,
backwards, but
Yeah. Okay.
So
Dude, I'm gonna try this at our commander group. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I'll tell them about it, and we'll see. They've had so much fun playing like the plane chase stuff. I feel like for me, plane chase is just like a lot of work, especially if you play like the one where you have to like map it out. This seems like a lot less work if I just press a button and it tells me what to do and I do that thing. That's what I want.
Is there a way to rotate the screen like in landscape mode?
I don't know.
Yes.
But I mean, you get the basic idea. And I didn't mean to go off too much on a tangent,
great.
but it's just one of the things that we're doing. I think people should give it a try. Everybody that's been involved so far has been very, very positive about it. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
the most
absolutely.
competitive. So if you're just into like Smash, like I think Nikachu would hate it because he just wants to, punch people in the face.
oh right, yeah.
But
Hey guys, it's Nikachu here, and today
he's
we're
a
gonna.
great dude. He's an awesome
Yeah, he's
guy.
cool.
I love Nikachu.
But I mean, when we got to play Commander Raids with Gavin Duggan, one of the guys that created Commander as a format back in the day,
Cool.
it was a phenomenal experience, and we got a lot of input from him. So we've sourced a
Yeah.
lot from different games, the way that we're trying to have the table, how available all of the material is for everybody to the gameplay and the mechanics itself.
Yeah.
And
Well,
also how homebrewed it is. That was one of the biggest things that Gavin really talked to us about, is that we need to make this a community-driven thing. It's not like they own Commander. They put it forward, and now it became a homebrewed thing, and everybody plays a little bit different. It's the same thing here. It's definitely community-driven, and it's sourced by the player base, which is really important. That's how the games thrive.
So I'm going to do one thing. So it also makes cards, if I could get blowed up. So a couple of different things, right? One of the things I love is if you have a collection, and a lot of cards that really didn't have a home, weren't that great, like this is a baller card. So imagine the only opponent is the boss monster. We are his opponents, right? So any cards that reference that. This one basically says he has no cards, he has no deck. So when I play this, each other player may draw up to 3 cards. Well, he has no cards to draw, but all the other players on my team can draw him, and I get a 4/4 flyer for 3. This is a card nobody gave a shit about, but it's a baller. And there's the I could find other cards, like Howling Mine. You get the idea that you just start taking a very different look at old cards, and they get a very new home. If you're familiar with Collective Voyage, so join forces. Most people are like, "What card is that?" when we start playing. So for
Collective
one
Voyage is
green mana,
actually busted in the format.
Oh,
What's
it's
that?
crazy good.
It's busted in the format.
Yeah.
It's
This
actually,
card?
Because right now the raid monster never targets lands. There's no land destruction because nobody fucking likes that. So like the cards like this, where like everybody goes and gets like fucking 15 basic lands or whatever. Problem is I don't play a single deck that runs more than like 5 basic lands, so I don't ever
I'm just
benefit as
saying,
much as
the
One more
point for
basic.
Mark is like what you were talking about earlier of getting you thinking, right? So once we started coming up with this format, it made me really start rethinking cards. And when I see like the new commander decks come out, and that like what Brian Giles was talking about, I see Magic now in a different way. There's the competitive way that cards are awesome and great, or cards that most people go, that card's shit. And I'm like, that would be amazing in commander raids, right?
Yeah,
So it's exciting to me that you kind of start thinking about Magic and your cards that had no life, that you're like, oh, that would be awesome only if it didn't penalize me. That you can now start thinking of different ways to break the game, and you're like, that's awesome. And I love that. I love that people come up with it. No audio.
Wasn't that always the original like intention of Elder Dragon Highlander, right? Like this idea of like these 7, 8, 9, 10 drops you would never play because you never get there in a constructed format.
Right.
Suddenly having like ridiculous busted effects. New life.
Exactly.
And in some weird way, right? You're also helping WotC sell cards, because like cards that have no value suddenly have value in a format that, again, I think people love PvE. I think so.
We need to go out and buy all the Joined Forces cards.
I do actually. Every time I go in my LGS, I buy up all the Collective Voyages he has on hand.
And the thing is like too, like if you guys think about it, like Commander is a format that's already casual, and casual players tend to like PvE more too. Anyway, so this is a really easy way to ease in. Like if you try to introduce it like to your like tournament grinders, they're gonna be like, dude, I'm just here to like 1v1, you know?
Right.
It's different, but it's actually the right format for Commander.
Out of the 3 of us, I'm definitely the most competitive.
Yeah.
And I will say, I get bored of Commander raids sometimes because it loses that competitiveness. It's too casual, I guess, sometimes for me. Like I definitely, there are times where I just don't want to play. Now the Gauntlet version that I created is more in depth because it handles like you get boons, and boons change because you're fighting multiple bosses in a row. So the boons kind of enhance the playability of the deck, and it's different each time. So it's kind of almost like a roguelike format for the Gauntlet mode. So if you like roguelikes, you'll like that.
Yeah.
I'm still tweaking the blight system, where blights are like these things that the raid monster can do to like change your deck. It basically like you flip over the top card and you blight it, and when you draw that blighted card, it does something. But I haven't quite ironed that out because it's strange. It's an interesting thing because I mean they stay throughout the entire Gauntlet, but it's hard to make it smooth. So that's the gauntlet mode is still something that I need to work on more, but it's still really fun. The boons are great. I think the boons are nailed.
So what I'll say, and what Pat and I really, it was kind of a brain baby, I'd say, I don't know, 8-9 months before M30, and we kind of modeled it to a degree after Boss Monster, which is a format that WotC has, but it was terrible. It's very underdeveloped.
So weak.
But here's the thing about like Commander Raids. I've been playing Magic since 1994, and the way that people get into Magic is typically it's introduced by somebody else that's a player that has some level of expertise in it. It's not like two new people saying, "Hey, what's this starter deck? Let's go home and try it." That's not how Magic gets played or taught. That's not how people get into it.
Right.
With this, and when you're in that format, one of two things invariably happens. You're going to teach some new player how to play, and you're either A, going to kick the shit out of them, or B, let them win. Either one of those is a very rewarding first starting experience, right? That's almost 99% the way most people are introduced to Magic. So either you crush them, or you take it easy on them, or you let them win, kind of thing. You're not really trying to compete with them. In this one, you have the hardcore player like Matt over here, who is a competitive hardcore player, and you have the super casuals like me. I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to smile and have fun.
I just want my deck to do its thing.
Right. I want to do a thing. I want to do one thing, right?
I want to put Kuiper out and play a bunch of fucking enchantments. I want to do my thing. It's not.
I literally just built 2 CDH decks right here.
But if you're a brand new player, you don't have to be intimidated, because now you have a pro player with you that isn't crushing your face in and isn't letting you win, and they're trying to help you, because you can open your hand and show everybody what you have. That you're allowed to share information, and so you're guiding them through the gameplay. It's a smoother way and a less feels bad, salty way to get into the game, right? So it really was the focus that Pat and I wanted to kind of target, that more casual. My fiance will play Commander Raids. She won't play Magic because she calls it the pew pew I kill you game, like we're playing head to head. She hates it. So it's a way to get your kids in. It's a way to get your your girlfriends and wives in that don't typically play. It does help get reach to more casual players. And it is a more enjoyable way. I'll be honest with you. Even when we lose, there's very little salt. I can tell you, a lot of the Commander games I play, I'm salty as fuck. I'm like, I can't stand that. God, that was awful. Looking at you, BBD, Mr. Counterspell, everything everybody plays every turn.
Fucking guy.
It's just garbage. And
I got a deck for
bad
him
about that. Yeah. And so, even when we lose, and we lose, I mean, a fair amount of times in Commander Masters, it's just the way it rolls. It's quick. Like, how many Commander games do you see go 3, 4, 5 hours long? It's just like, oh my God,
man. I've been in those games.
Can I just concede? I don't want to play anymore. And Commander Raids, you're very hard pressed to have a game go over 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
There's like a countdown clock.
The rolls are going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have a countdown clock to beat it, or it's going to beat you. So,
and also to be one of the greatest aspects of it is you can do it solo. So if you're trying to play test a deck, gold fishing is one of the most difficult things. And having this random table to roll against, you don't have to just make it up out of your head. It's something that is truly random. So you can play test really well solo against it.
Yeah, you're not just flipping over cards, you're actually interacting with something.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say that the Raid Monster doesn't imitate is interaction, and it's something that I'm trying to think of a way to allow interaction, because that's one of the biggest things about Magic is having the interaction. Like if you go to combo off, the Raid Monster can basically do nothing to stop you. It can preemptively try to stop you by preventing more than one card played per turn, stuff like that. But if you dodge those rolls and you have a combo in your hand, you win. There's nothing it can do, and it will never stop you if you dodge the rolls that stop you. So there is ways to imitate interaction, but at the moment, that's the one thing that Commander Raids lacks. If you're trying to play,
we wanted to make it low to the ground though, so you don't have to have extra cards. All you need is your deck and basically a 20-sided die. Right, that's all you need. And
one of the reasons we decided the 20-sided die was because everybody has one.
Yep.
Gavin, great, thank you again for that advice. Every bundle comes with a 20-sided spin down. So boom, every Magic player that's reasonably entrenched has exactly the items they need. So yeah, Real fun. We'd love to, get you on to play sometime, even if we're not recording, doing a stream or anything. Just turning some cards with you. Super fun.
Yeah, I'm down. I just joined the Discord. I think it's a great
Awesome.
format. I'm surprised I've never heard of it before. I'm definitely gonna try it. I'll give you
Yeah,
some
we're
feedback.
small.
We have a eight man, eight sometimes 12. Dude, we had like 16 or something one day show up. We did 2 pods at some dude's house, like playing
Oh,
Magic.
I
I
would
miss
love to
those
see.
days.
I'd love to see you try this because
Yeah.
Commander Raid is scalable by the
Yeah.
number of people playing. So we've
Holy
never
shit.
played more than 4.
Okay.
I
I'd be
did
curious to see how like a
5-person
Like I
large
can
in
do
my
5 or
LGS.
6.
Dude,
Yeah,
you
I
can do
did
as many as you
5.
want. For
20.
every player, if you
Yeah.
read the top of it, it says it gets. We scale a lot of different things based off of like poison
Yeah.
counters. It gets
Nice.
based. It gets a little complicated. It's on that spreadsheet.
Okay.
But yeah, it gets more hit points per player that joins the game.
Okay. I'm down. I'm
Now
gonna
I
try it.
have to imagine at a certain point the hit points won't matter, and the number of players will. There's probably needs to be another.
You have to
scaling factor,
exponential it
but-
probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
but we're
probably
also
have to add
looking-
more dice rolls. Like every
Sure.
6 players, it rolls a die instead of at the end of the turn.
Right.
Well, we were looking at that. We were looking at rolling die in between each player's go for brutal mode, like
Oh,
to make it
fuck,
even
yeah.
harder.
Yeah, it's real difficult.
But yeah, we could. There's many ways we could customize it to accommodate. I don't care, 20 people playing, right? So yeah,
I'll try to update the app for the version 3. But yeah, I have
and
the
I'm going to
app
say
on
this,
it.
Mark. Whatever comments or improvements, one of the things that is universal about this game for people who play is every time we get new players, they play it and they go, "Man, you know what would be great if."
Yeah.
And we encourage that. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, make your own
Yeah.
flavor, publish it, give it. We want the
Mm.
feedback. We want
Yeah.
the game to grow. We want it to be diverse,
Mm-hmm.
for what suits, your play group. What do you like better? And we want people to homebrew it. And we want you to take it and say, hey, this is a great skeleton. And we did this with it. And we do have people that do that in our Discord. They're like, hey, I came up with this flavor.
Yeah, Toast
Toast,
just
I'll
put something
play
in earlier today. So
Toast is he's one of the people that he's like kind of like a pseudo developer for the game. He's one of the people that like has taken this on and has tried to add in a bunch of feedback and a bunch of different ways. He's
Yeah,
trying
he's
to make a
super
way for
good.
the raid monster to attack. He wants the raid monster to
like
not
that.
just get hit. He wants it to actually have an attack. I think he's calling duelist is what he's naming it. So I don't really care about the raid monster attacking. It's casting the spells. Like your planeswalker, as you don't ever attack. So I don't think the raid monster needs to attack. But I want to play. I haven't played his version yet, but I want to play with him to like understand it more.
Yeah.
Because at the moment I don't get it, but he's making stuff for it.
At any rate, I think we're kind of kicking a dead horse here with a great guest on. So sorry, didn't mean to steal the thunder from you being on, but I do hope you enjoy it. At least now you're aware.
I like that he
Check it
seems
out.
interested in it. That's pretty cool.
No, I'm
I can
dude,
see
I'm in the
Marty
Discord.
thinking.
I'm in the Discord. I'm gonna check it out. It's definitely
Yeah,
good
if you go
check
to
in.
the there should be a link somewhere in the Discord where you can pull up the current iteration of rules. It's just a Google Doc, and then there's also a spot that says, oh yeah, current iteration. There's the how to play, gauntlet mode, and current iteration. Current iteration just gives you the charts for quick reference, so you don't have to have the Google Doc open, so you don't get flashbanged.
So one of the things that I've been meaning to ask you before we lose you for the evening. So like, what do you have on deck? What are the things that you're working on for your channel? I mean, as far as Magic goes, where do you see yourself going in the future with Magic? I know you used to open a bunch of products too. Like, so what is it you have on deck? What are you doing?
Honestly, I just do what I like, right? So I think one of the reasons why a lot of people come to my channel is because I just do me, right? I don't have to. It doesn't have to be Magic content. If I just want to talk about how to be a better person, I talk about how to be a better person. If I want to piss off somebody because I'm telling the secrets of a misprint or whatever, I'm gonna talk about that because I'm not monetized by WotC, so who cares, right? But I think as far as what I've done in the last 2 months or so is I've opened up the Patreon, right? So I think the one thing I did like about what Rudy was able to do for a lot of people, the community, was able to give people products at a certain very nice preferential pricing, and I've been able to pull a lot of strings, get a lot of relationships in to be able to do the same thing. So that's been helpful. The other side of that too is with the Patreon side, I've really been able to kind of have a little bit more communication with my community and fans, because part of the Patreon side, the other side of it is the Discord. I actually only opened the Discord about 2 months ago, and what we've been doing is on the Discord just chatting about MTG finance, like really anything, Grand Archive. If people were talking about Pokemon, like anything they want to talk about. And recently it's all about the One Ring being found. What does it mean? What's our tinfoil hat theories? It's just fun stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes
MetaZoo?
it's
Any
hard-
MetaZoo chatters?
Yeah, yes, there are, but everybody's hating on MetaZoo, and there's apparently some people who are like telling me about certain people who are the people who like pump MetaZoo or something. I don't know. There's a lot, right? And I told
People who
people,
pump MetaZoo.
I've bought one product from MetaZoo.
I
bought
have a
one
bunch
of
of
Rudy-
playmats from Rudy, so like
Yeah, I bought the Rudy playmat with the cryptic or the native. Yeah, what is it? Native? I don't know. The most recent Rudy kit I bought, and it's doing great. If I were to sell everything now, I'd probably double my money.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Nothing wrong with that.
basically
never
that's
played
what
the
I'm
game.
doing. I think as far as like Magic goes, I suspect I'll continue to make content, and if there's something I want to tell people, like, hey, I think coming up soon is going to be like a warning message to not buy those jump starts again, even if it's Lord of the Rings on it. And those are $100. I don't know if you guys saw it. Those are $100 for those jump start booster boxes. It's insane.
Are they good?
5 decks, same as before. It's the garbage jump starts. So that's what I'm saying. Like customers don't know, and they're gonna go out there and buy this thing. They think it's really cool. They're gonna open it and be very disappointed. And I just don't want people to feel bad. Like there's so much better options out there. In fact, I think nowadays more than ever, a lot of people are looking at different options of like what to do if they have a collection. What's the best way to like quit Magic type of thing? Talk about that a little bit, or
Hold
just
your cards.
or don't sell. Exactly, yeah. I mean, but it's not always like that. A couple of my friends actually are offering me stuff now because they want to go into Grand Archive. I'm like, my recommendation: don't sell those things to me. Buy Grand Archive, but don't sell your Magic. But people don't feel that way. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not like I think long-term SolarGames can't just be a Magic channel. Honestly, it's gonna follow my interests, whatever those things may be. I used to actually
right now too.
yeah, I used to run I used to actually run a pretty I think like 4,000 subscriber YouTube channel on just mobile gaming until I quit that thing, right?
You playing Honkai Star Rail?
No, but I did play what's that zombie game? Survivor something. It's like pretty big. I mean, they had like they gave somebody like a Ferrari or something in Florida.
Jesus.
Like it's insane.
Dude, mobile games make so much.
They make a lot of
bank.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I used to run a clan or alliance and all that shit. So all the politics and bullshit, So and then of course just me, like I min-max everything. So I did all my guys, and people would like watch me as a basically a free-to-play player, rank 1 in like some ridiculous event, right? People are like, what the fuck? How are you doing this? I'm like, let me show you. Like, obviously, I realized very much later I'm better off putting my effort into something that's worthwhile because I can't cash out of a mobile game. I just like
yeah.
Oh, cool. Here's like 20 more gems. I'm like, okay, so I leaderboard. Who cares, right?
Yeah,
So
and
that's
it's
why, like,
usually really hard to sell accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Again, I'm just a free. Like basically, I pay like a little bit, like $5 a month type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For the basic packs or whatever.
I'm the same
My
with,
account's nowhere near
Warhammer.
like what the top pay to win players are going to be, but I know how to like game the system, so like I can always do a lot better than most free to player like by a big margin.
Honky Star Rail. Isn't that what
But
you call it?
I quit all
Honky
mobile
Star
games.
Whale.
Yeah, so I
Honky
don't
Star
do any of
Whale.
that stuff anymore. I don't do drugs anymore.
Back, I would say, probably 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But I would say about 10 years ago, I played a game called. It was a mobile game for war. It was like one of those war mobile games where you like build your base up and then you like attack other bases and like warp around the map and shit.
Yeah.
I remember spending $3,000. I'd say about $3,500 in the matter of like a month, because like a new like armor set had came out, and I'm like, this is gonna be sick. I'm gonna get all these gems. I'm gonna be so powerful. And I was very strong, but then there was still a guy that spent much more than
10,000.
3,000. He spent like 100,000.
Right.
Dude, this guy was the biggest whale I've ever seen in any mobile game. He was so hot, so much higher power than like anybody else, and he just came in and just fucking nuked me. And I'm like, yay! All of that money was like nothing.
Yep.
So then I've learned that was a learning lesson of mobile games. I don't whale anymore. Like the most I spend now is like $20 a month, maybe.
How much have you
The
spent?
only
on
winners
Arena?
are the developers. It's never you as the player. Like I mean, they will always bring a higher or bigger whatever weapon for someone to buy, right? So
That was one of the questions in that survey I just took for WotC was how much money have you spent on Arena? I'm like, fucking zero, bro.
yeah,
Honestly, I don't think I've
yeah,
spent
bro,
anything.
yeah.
I might have given him $10 at one point, maybe.
0.0, and you're giving that's like here's a not hot take, but no shit. Hey, you want to know why standards just absolutely dead at LGS is because you give it away for free on Arena.
Correct.
End of story.
Correct.
Duh.
Yeah, why would you
Move
want to
on.
leave your house when you could just play it on a line?
Why would you want to pay for it?
Yeah.
Why
That
would
is
you
true.
wanna pay
Orcus
for something you
Bowmaster
get for
is
free?
the same price as every other card in the game on Arena.
Jesus, yeah. That thing in the fucking non-school. Like,
Yeah.
black is super powerful in this set.
So I mean, I just think that was kind of tough. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you there, Mark.
No,
I'm
no.
going to continue to watch you. I enjoy your content. I love that you're like you said, you speak your mind. It's candor. I don't feel like there's a lot of content creators out there I feel that are disingenuous, that there's some agenda that they're trying to advance, whether they're getting sponsorship or they just want
pander
to
a
do
bit.
something.
Yeah.
I'm like, that you're not going to get that here. So
Yeah, I actually had to
probably gonna
reject a
be-
bunch of sponsorships already, and it's like one of those things
Wow.
where it's just like at some point I looked at what they're offering me. I'm like, dude, it's like honestly, yes, can SolarGames be bought? Absolutely. You're gonna have to pay me a shit ton of money though, because I have a normal job that pays pretty well, so I don't really need money from YouTube or whatever. Right? This is just like fun. So that actually allows me to make better content. So it actually kind of works out pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely like the freedom of saying whatever the hell we feel like saying
Yeah.
about whatever game we feel like saying, no matter who it is.
Any
So,
sponsorship that I take or that we take as a channel, as we're all partners, I definitely want a clause in there that says we can say whatever we want. I don't ever want to be beholden to some dollar amount that they give
except
us
for
to like
you make
push
playing
their-
cards. Make playing
Yeah,
cards.
right.
Make playing cards.
MakePlayingCards.com, not a sponsor, want a sponsor.
We love them. We push them all the time. We show so hard for those guys.
Yeah,
And I did
technically
reach
any
out to them,
card
they
is just
basically
about.
told me to- I did reach out to them. They did respond. They basically told me to suck it. They're already working with WotC. I'm like, oh well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But,
see, that's the problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a joke for us,
dude. I think commander raids. More people know about this thing. Dude, you sponsor
I think
yourself,
that
dude.
we need
I'm
to
telling
push
you,
it
like
more.
at some point, what's preventing you guys from selling your own precons? What's preventing you from selling like better, like all the tokens, all the stuff? I'm telling you, you have so much.
I want to do
because you
I
guys are
wanna
putting
do
the work.
Patreon packs.
I just get on fucking
Yeah.
camera and talk. I'm not doing a lot. Okay, you guys are actually putting in like reps. You should be rewarded for that. I'm serious. I think so.
I think
reward
there'd be a
is-
cool Patreon, like a Patreon join award where they get like a full token set of the Commander raids.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a
I
pretty
think so.
cool tier.
Actually, what I would do, honestly, if it does take off. First off, Gavin, do you know who Gavin Dugan is?
I've heard of him. Yeah, he's like one
Awesome
of the,
human being. He was the co-creator of Commander,
Correct,
along
yes.
with Sheldon Menery.
Sheldon. Yeah.
And I got to play. I got to play with him in Vegas. I didn't know who he was before that. Just an awesome, like man crush.
Sat down with Gavin.
Super smart
Yeah.
guy, way smarter than me.
Yeah.
And he works like with Google AI for biogenic. I don't even know what he does.
Yeah.
At any rate, just one of them like stupidly smart people, and just an awesome human being and high energy. He's on the Commander Rules Committee, and he did play with. He was on our show. I mean, surprisingly,
Yeah. It's
Great
crazy
dude.
the people we've had.
um,
Still, same
So
tonight.
but what he recommended to us is just promote the game, and then if people want us, like, hey, you're the creators, can you come out and? That's what Matt kind of wants, and that's what I would take. I don't care if we
That's-
make a
yeah.
single dime off it, but if they invite us to like a Magic Invitational to like
Yeah.
showcase Commander,
Yeah,
Raid,
yeah.
that would be what I would want mostly. And if we go pay, the way that I would do it is give the base game free to everybody.
Yeah.
But if you want access to the custom Sauron Commander that Pat built, or if you want to play with us as the creators, that, hey, you have to pay to be a part of Patreon. Is the biggest way I would probably do that is through Patreon. So you're
Right.
supporting us.
Have you guys looked into like on the D&D side, because there's a lot of content creation on the D&D side? Have you looked into like what they do with all the D&D systems, but not official D&D? Like, because it sounds like that's basically what you're doing. Have you thought about how,
vaguely.
or have you figured out how they monetize from like, sorry, not monetize, but how they started from like not known to like now it's a big deal.
I haven't
like
seen how people
Pathfinder.
advertise in those. No,
Okay.
I just
I'll
assumed
say
that if
this,
we
I
just
just
kept
wanted to
playing
take
it,
off. I just want to have more people to play Commander Raids with. To be quite frank, I just love playing it. I don't even want to play regular Magic anymore. Ask Pat. I don't play regular Commander anymore. Because I just like him. Hey, you want to play some Commander Raids?
Yeah.
I love it. I do. So there's got to be others out there like me. I've been playing Magic for almost 30 years. There's got to be more people like me out there. So, and everybody that's played is like, holy shit, I love this game. So I agree. It's exposure. One of the things like Nikachu tells me behind the scenes is like, I don't know why you guys aren't a bigger channel. I'm like, okay, I don't know. They don't really care. That's probably why.
People just don't see enough of us. But we are slowly
gaining. Take off. I think it would be so much fun for the community. I think people that would try it would be like, holy shit, this is great. Yeah. And it's free. It's absolutely free. Just play with the cards you have. You don't got to do nothing.
In fact, you're playing with the cards that you probably have not touched for years because they're not good enough for every other format.
Yeah.
You don't sell them because they aren't worth shit and nobody wants to trade for them. So you're looking through your body going, oh my God.
I'm waiting for Commander Raids to blow up. I'm about to buy out all
calculate all the
you know what?
Heart of Springs. Heartbeat of Springs is a good one.
Concordant Crossroads is amazing.
Yeah.
You want to see a broken card for Commander Raids now that you understand it? Just look up a card. Here's a card that's from like, I don't know, like Legends or something. It's called Catabatic Winds.
Sounds like Arabian Nights. Catabatic Winds.
I don't know, but it's like not worth anything. It's old.
Visions.
Right?
Visions, yeah.
Okay. So now we have, just so you know, in the rule set, there are defenders that can spawn. Those are the tokens that we have. And when they do spawn, they have Death Touch, right? Now, and when they do spawn, all players must attack into them that turn. So, like, everybody's basically goaded, right? But they have flying. So you see Catabatic Winds?
Yeah.
First off, it can't ever be blown up because it phases out on your turn. So it's permanent on the table. It doesn't exist when the boss monster blows up enchantments.
Right.
He can't ever block you because all of his tokens are flying. So you're going to get through. You're like, okay, cool, I'll attack. So anyway, but that's what I mean. See what I mean? Catabatic Winds. How many people have ever even fucking heard of Catabatic Winds?
Yeah.
I still don't even know what it does.
Right? And he helped design it. So I love that. Yes, that's exactly. And I was just very long-winded way of saying, yeah, I agree with you. That it helps you look at your collection in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And even new cards you look at in a very different way, going, oh, I'm going to buy up all those because they're like 2 cents a piece.
That's the beautiful thing about Magic, and now any of these deck building games is having that like ability to like just find value in cards and see things that other people don't see. I think it's really magical. Really, like think about all the brewers, right, who look at cards and they're like, I think this card's good, and some people are like, I think this card is bad. I love it when that happens because I want to see those two fight against each other and prove it one way or another, right? Because one of them is right at most, right? So let's see.
Well, you'd have to run an awful lot of games to know empirically, because it could have just been, mana screw for that.
But like the One Ring, right? The whole discussion about One Ring, whether it was a good card. Early on, I saw this card. I'm like, so at worst, it's a little bit more expensive Phyrexian Arena. That's like still already better, but it's colorless. Holy shit, this card is good.
Yeah.
Indestructible. Yeah. Like my Arena, when that shit lands, everyone disenchants it instantly, right? Like they're not gonna let you keep it on the field in Commander for like 3, 4, 5 turns. Like I'm losing a life, but I don't care. Like I'm accelerating like turns like crazy with that card. So I thought it was good. I heard, I think it was MTG Goldfish that said the card is bad. I'm like, really? Maybe I'm just like these guys, they play a lot. So I'm like,
sorry, I was zoning out.
Talk about the One Ring. Yeah. I don't think it's bad.
The One Ring is
as great as people. I don't think it's as good as
it's great.
But this is what happened. Then we had Modern Weekend, and every single top deck ran this card. And there was no it wasn't like they're trying to run like a draw go deck. It was not a blue deck thing. Every deck ran it. And then I was like, well, guess what? Guess why it's $50 now? Because every Modern deck is going to run it until they ban it. And so now the whole thing is everyone's calling for a ban on this card. And I'm like, that's also overreaction. Like you could just play Enchantment Hate Artifact Exile. There's ways to get rid of it. People need to get more creative and not get like angry, right? And first of all,
isn't Return to Dust an Exile one?
Sure. There's actually easier ways to do it. There's a card from Kaldheim, right? A changeling. So you can run in your tribal deck. It exiles one card from your graveyard, enter, exile target artifact. Easy. Like you just run it and your tribal deck doesn't even suffer for running that card. So like people are just being like ridiculous. Yeah.
It's great in Commander too. I've watched games with it. It actually is. It's just a ton of value.
Yeah.
It's indestructible, so it's fairly sticky.
Speaking of Commander, I gotta go, guys. I'm already 10 minutes
man.
late, and I gotta go drive to this guy's house,
Sorry.
and they're probably waiting on me bringing the board games today. So,
Hey,
Well,
thank
hey,
you so much
it's
for
been
showing up.
phenomenal. Yeah, thank you very
absolute
much
pleasure
for
having
stopping in this evening, and hope to do this again sometime soon.
absolutely, I really
We'll chat
enjoyed
again
talking to
sometime.
all of you. I want to hear more from you, Pat.
Hey, we'll do what we can.
Okay.
Anybody listening, if you aren't subscribed to Solar Games already, you're wrong. Go do it now.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I give you guys this stuff too, and I think I'm
Thank
gonna talk a little bit. I'll try out Commander Race, and I'll give you a little shout out on my channel for sure. If
you want, I'll play a game with you, and we can kind of do like a
we should
collaboration.
let's just do a game. Then you can show me because I might be running the rules wrong, right? Yeah, let's do a game. Let me
It's a lot
figure it
easier.
out.
I can kind of shepherd you into the format.
Yeah, and if I think it's good after playing it, yeah, I'll definitely talk about it. Right? Just
And if you don't, that's perfectly fine as well.
if I don't, I'll
Shout
talk
it out
about
as
how
well.
bad it is.
Say this game sucks, guys. Don't play it.
Infamy.
Yeah, right.
Don't watch
Bullshit.
this channel. Guess what? It's gonna happen to your channel.
We
You're blowing
want
up.
feedback. We have a specific spot in our text channel for feedback. So
All press
even
is good press.
good,
Anyways,
bad,
hey,
other.
we're holding him up from his game, guys.
Okay.
Let's
I'll
thank you
see
so
you
much
guys
for
later.
your
Thank you
time,
so
dude.
much. All right, bye bye.